Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Ever Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Hi, Matt and Josh.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good.
Yeah,
Had a-
I'm good.
Had a hot coffee. Haven't had a hot coffee in a
Two
while.
hot coffees.
Been
You
doing a
said
lot
it's 85 degrees out. I'm going to need a hot coffee.
Yeah, I was feeling a dirty Harry today.
He's wearing a sweater too.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this off right
What's a dirty Harry?
Yeah.
now. It's like chocolate and French vanilla with a
Okay.
little bit of a pump of caramel or something of that. It's
With
really good.
coffee?
All right.
Yeah. It's a little. I needed a sugar boost. I needed sugar this morning. It's kind of one
Don't
of those,
crash.
Well, it's one of those where I get to the coffee shop and I go, do I want to prioritize caffeine or do I want to prioritize having fat and sugar in my body? And today was I forgot my sandwich
Oh, no.
at my house. Probably going to need some more calories in this one, so I prioritized milk and sugar.
Did you pack a little lunch?
I pack lunches now. I packed 4 sandwiches on Sunday.
Like for the week.
Meal prep.
He prepped 4 sandwiches.
Yeah, I prepped 4 sandwiches, croissant
What's
sandwiches.
going on these sandwiches?
That's a long time for a sandwich to be sitting there.
It's in the fridge, you
How do
know.
you decide which one gets to be the Monday sandwich? What's the Tuesday?
Oh, yeah.
I just close my eyes and I grab one.
So there is theoretically a sandwich that is in your fridge that won't be eaten until Friday.
No, there's no. They're going to be eaten on Thursday. I pick up my own.
I mean,
lunch
still
on
Sunday to Thursday is a long time.
Sunday night.
Let it marinate.
Sunday night. I mean,
There's
it's
no
just,
marinating.
It's just bread. I mean, what am I worried?
That's the point. It's bread. It dries out.
What am I worried? Okay, so bread. So I bought the croissant sandwiches on Sunday, and it's bread in the fridge. It should last 4 days. Yeah. Will the final?
No, I'm not worried about it lasting. I'm worried about the quality.
The properties of the bread break
yes.
down.
Yeah,
by
I mean, I'm
fridge
sure
in
that the
cool
Thursday
air.
sandwich probably won't be the
That's what I'm
best
saying.
eating.
I want you to
but
have the best sandwich you could possibly have.
It's a good sandwich. It's a good sandwich.
But it won't be as good as it could be on Thursday because you
I'll
made
say-
it on Sunday.
But the Monday sandwich is great, and the Tuesday sandwich will be
He's
fine.
saying that you could probably have a great sandwich without having to prep it that early. In
I just really, I'm going to be real with you that if I
feel
wake
like
up,
sometimes I translate.
If-
that
I appreciate
for
it.
McMaster.
If
I don't know what he's not getting, but
no, I am totally in agreement with you. The Thursday sandwich is probably not going to be the highest quality. I don't really care. And also too, if I make these sandwiches every day instead of prepping them all on Sunday, if I go every day, I wake up and I'm going to make the sandwich in the morning. I'm probably not going to make the sandwich. I'm probably just going to be like, oh, I don't want to make a sandwich.
Need
right
some
now. I just
discipline
wanna
in
go
your
to
life,
work."
Would you
son.
consider making it the night before?
I just make them all the night on Sunday and just put them all in there.
so normal people, they meal prep. But
I'm not normal.
I know, but I'm telling you what normal people do. They can meal prep, but they meal prep like chicken and rice and stuff.
Yeah. I've done that.
I've
this
never
week.
heard of meal prepping sandwiches.
I just was like, I had the 4 croissant sandwiches and I had my meats and I had my cheeses and I go, I'm gonna knock all this out right now. So I can just wake up, get up, go to the
What are
fridge.
the meats and cheeses?
I
What are we
respect
working
it.
with?
I make a liver sausage ham Swiss cheese with mustard.
You put liver on your sandwich?
Yeah, it's
So there's a liver sandwich sitting in your fridge and it will be there for another 3 days.
It's like it's like pate, and you kind of like you spread it on the bottom bun and then you put ham and Swiss and mustard and that's it. I like it. It's a nice little contrast. My dad used to do it and it just adds a little bit of a depth of flavor to it, a different type of texture as well.
I'm growing more concerned for your Thursday sandwich.
My Thursday sandwich probably it won't get me sick,
At
but it
least
won't be
delivered
the
in
highest
the fridge
quality.
with the dried bread.
When I get back home today and I have my sandwich, which was meant for the morning, but will be now my lunch, I'm going to put an avocado on it so I get some more healthy fats in there.
Okay.
So it'll be a avocado liver sausage ham Swiss cheese sandwich.
really glad you didn't put the avocado on there.
No, but I am learning how to manage my avocados. I didn't know how to manage avocados in the past. I used to just kind
Avocado management 101.
Yeah. Well, I knew that you had to put them in the
Never had to
you
manage
could put them in the
avocados.
fridge.
I don't manage avocados.
And so it's like they were really ripe, but I always had them in the fridge, but they never never unripened. Like they never got like soft. And I was like, this sucks. So then I was like, okay, I'll put them not in the fridge, but then they got ripe too quickly. And I'm like, I'm not going to have 4 avocados.
So you got to get a little in the fridge, a little out of
And
the
I
fridge.
got, so avocado management, very important to understand when your avocados are done ripening and when you have to put them in the fridge. This has been about 2 bags of avocados worth of learning how to manage my
So
avocado.
the
That's
problem
a
that
relative learning
it is.
What?
It really is.
Seems
It's
like
very
expensive
expensive.
learning
It's only $4
for a bag of avocado.
5 avocados, $4.
Wow.
So the problem that I ran into a lot, like when I was a person who was living by myself and had to make food for myself, is like buying too much food and it going stale.
Yes. Yes.
So the if I could go back in time, like the real practice would be to go to the store and get the ingredients of what you're going to eat every day.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
It's a lot.
but that would have been the way to do it.
It was
probably.
convenient when that's
You
kinda
live
how
right
I
by
did
a
it.
high
I live
V.
right by the high V,
Yeah.
and it's like, all right, well, I'll go right after the radio.
I'm
show
20. I
or
got nothing
whatever.
else going on. I got a whole day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just one of those where I did that in college. I lived right next to the grocery store in college, and that's exactly what I did. I will describe this though, like I was a poor college student. I had no money. I was working
Sounds
at
like a
KLIN,
universal thing.
and I had no money. And I think the last year I haven't been an adult as much as I've just been a rich college student, And so now I was spending all of my money on the things I would have liked to spend in college.
Sure, take some chances.
Like I was going to
get the
lunch.
bag of avocados.
Yeah, I was going to lunch. I was like overbuying things. Like I was taking trips. I was buying my friends drinks and everything like that. Now I'm over being the college student with money. I just want.
When did this change?
I would say probably the last 6 weeks, where I'm just kind of like, all right, I got to spend. I've done it all. I've eaten everywhere I've wanted to eat.
Someone invited you to a Dave Ramsey thing.
No, my rent's going up too, where it's like that's in the back of my head, where it's like, okay, hey, like we're gonna be. I'll just say I'm gonna.
Have you ever considered buying real estate?
No. I don't have money for that.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
That's what Dave Ramsey would tell you to do.
No, but my credit score, man, I'm building up my credit score right now. I got a pretty good credit score.
Maybe you could buy a car one day or a house.
I'm in the high 7s.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Look at that.
I'm in the high 7s.
Maybe you could buy a car or a house one day.
I lost my Shields credit card though, so I got to make sure that I have to get one back so I can get back to paying, because if I know that my credit score can go down if I open it up and then I close it too quickly.
What do you mean lost?
On
the ground?
Yeah, I was going on a walk. Oh, I'll reveal this. I kept this a secret from you two. I didn't keep it a secret from Josh. But 4 days before I left for the Big Ten tournament to Chicago, I lost my ID. And
I knew about that.
This was like
you told us.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah.
This was like
I don't think I knew it.
This was like the peak. Oh my God, it's impossible to get through TSA. Like everybody's taking 4 hours. And that was happening with people who did have their IDs. I did not have an ID.
Makes it
So
harder.
that was very nerve-wracking. The reason why I lost it was because I went on a walk and I didn't want to take around my clunky wallet. So I just pulled out my Shields credit card and my ID, and I just lost it.
Both of them.
Both of them.
What do you think happened?
I had a hole in one of my pockets, and I made sure that I put the credit card and the ID in my left pocket, which didn't have the hole. And then when I went on my walk and I go, I'm going to grab a beer at Lefty's. So I went.
So on the nose, it's almost impossible.
It feels like a fictitious thing that's in a story.
No,
where
this
it's
happened.
Like,
This legitimately.
Of course, Calamity Guy would have this happen to him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's,
Calamity Guy. Mr.
Well,
Calamity.
it's like you do
You're
so
Matt
much
Calamity.
character and world building of like, first you have to understand that Matt would be the kind of guy that would have a hole in his pocket.
But it has
So like
to
you
also
start, you build that world.
He wants to go for a walk. But
Yes.
he doesn't want to bring his full wallet, so he's going to outsmart the system by bringing just the two things that he needs.
And it all
So he
culminates.
puts on a pair of pants that have a hole in
It all culminates
And why
with him
does he have
getting
these
bit by
pants
that.
have a hole in them? Because he still likes the pants, even though they have a hole in them.
Mhm.
It's one of my best
They're
shorts that
probably
I own.
comfortable pants, and
They're
he's worn
incredibly
these pants a
comfortable.
lot with his sleeping shirt.
They got a nice
then he went for a
inlining.
walk.
They got a great inseam, right? And it's just like, and they hug your leg, and it's like, yeah,
And he
there
wasn't
happens
gonna
to be
get
a hole
beer,
in it.
but then he walked by Lefty's, and a beer sounded pretty inviting, and so he got out his not wallet, but he got out his ID and he got out his card. And he got the beer, and the beer was really good. And he inadvertently put it in his right hand, and then it went into the right pocket that didn't exist. And
Yep.
then he walked away.
All this stuff would have had to be that would have taken about 60 minutes to sort of build in a movie to all culminate in the
I
walk.
kind of like the idea of a new podcast that just narrates Matt's life of the calamities that do exist.
Yeah.
And like, how did we get here? And you sort of break it down from an academic standpoint.
I like
bought-
the idea
I
of calamity, man.
I
That's pretty
bought
good.
the shorts at Nordstrom Rack, and they were super cheap because they had a hole in them. But I was like, these are awesome.
They
pants.
sell stuff that has a hole in it.
At Nordstrom Rack, if things are broken, it's just like that's why they're here at the rack.
Well, I guess
There
you
was a
don't have
whole
to
period of
buy
time
it.
Where ripped everything was.
You know,
like,
I've had
away.
these shorts for 3 years. I never lost anything through them. I just always remembered to put things in my left pocket and not in my right pocket. Or some things are so big that they can't fall through the hole of the right pocket, so I can still use it. Like my phone isn't going to fall through the hole, or my wallet
Sure.
wouldn't fall through the hole, so it's not that big of a
But
deal.
individual pieces of your wallet.
Of my wallet would fall through.
And you didn't like, so if it were me and somehow was in your
this would
exact
never
shoes,
happen to you.
like obviously the things that had to happen in order for that situation to exist would never happen to
Yeah.
me. But I'm just putting myself in your exact shoes at the exact moment I lose the card.
Yeah.
Would still never happen.
Yes.
Because I would every 8 seconds, I would feel my legs
Yeah.
to make sure all the things were still there.
Mhm.
And I would notice it immediately.
So here's the thing.
It's literally an impossible
We
situation.
haven't even gotten to the best part. Because the best part is I walk out of Lefties, and from Lefties back to my house, it's a straight shot. All I have to do is walk straight. There's no turns, there's no nothing. I get 2 blocks down away from Lefties, like probably a block away from Morrison's, like 2 blocks away from Morrison Stadium, right? So I'm like crossing into Creighton's campus, and I like feel my pocket and go, oh no. Like I'm like, oh my God. Like I don't have my wallet.
It
I don't
happened
have my credit card.
again.
But all I did was walk straight. That's all I did. I just walked straight down from Lefties to where I was at.
Mhm.
So for 40 minutes, I just walked back and forth from and into Lefties, back down to 2 blocks away from Creighton's campus, and just kept going back
Nothing.
and forth and could not find it. Have no idea what happened. And like even went into Lefties, I gave him my number. The guy at Lefties was getting a little annoyed because it kept coming back in, being like, "Where the hell's my stuff?"
Probably.
Yeah,
He's
I
probably
felt
like,
that.
hey, man, take care of your own crap.
yeah, seriously.
Mhm.
So,
Which is what I thought that one day when your keys were in my car.
Yeah.
Mhm.
but I do want to say, from that moment to now, we have limited the losing and loss calamities.
You've made your changes in your life.
I mean, enough changes to the point where it's not embarrassing, but it's still a liability to happen.
okay, that's good.
Like it's not an issue as much as it just sometimes
Is
crap
your
happens.
wallet as thick as the mouse that you're using there?
What mouse?
The one that's right next to your hand.
I don't.
Well, the mouse that you now touch.
It's a little thinner, but it's still pretty big. I have a big wallet.
So like this.
It's a little bit bigger than that, but
Okay.
yeah, it's around that size. I will say now, I walk with my wallet now. I just walk with it. I just kind of eat it
Do
on
you
the
put it in
chin.
your back pocket or your
Oh,
front
my
pocket?
front pocket.
Yeah.
I don't put anything in my back pocket. I'm not.
You're not at the risk of losing your entire wallet.
No, never.
Did you get rid of the
Sign him up.
I will never. I will never lose my wallet.
Lose my wallet ever.
I will never lose my wallet. I've lost contents within my wallet plenty of times, but I will never lose my.
I made this
individual wallet.
prediction 4.5 years ago. It was right pretty much the start.
Mhm.
And there's only been like one 30-second period where I thought I may have lost my wallet.
I've left
in-
my
in this period of time.
I've left my wallet.
You,
like,
on the other
part,
hand, have lost everything
except
all the time.
except.
So you're willing to sign up, put it on
Yes.
put it on our list?
I never lost my wallet. I've never lost a wallet in my life.
I mean, I
I've
haven't
never
either.
lost it.
Put it on the list.
All right, I'll just put my name right next
No,
to it.
no, we
I'll
have a
never lose it.
document.
Lost means it's gone. right?
Yeah, I'll never lose it.
Not like you
Oh.
misplaced it or
I'm thinking like misplaced for even a short period of time.
Like how I've misplaced it for 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. That doesn't count.
Or like
oh,
I
you're gonna say 3 days.
Yeah, I thought you were going to
That's
say
lost.
no. I misplaced
I
it
got
for
it
3
back,
minutes.
though.
Or like so okay, here's a great one. I do the self-checkout at Hy-Vee. Go ahead, do my self-checkout, whatever, scan everything, and I walk to my car. When I get to my car, I realize I left my wallet at the self-checkout. Is that losing your wallet? because that happened once.
You're about one step away from it, but no.
And
it's not losing
I
your
just
wallet.
walked back and I went and I just grabbed it. I was like, oh, it's still there. Nobody grabbed it. Nobody touched it.
I'd call that luck.
You're putting your wallet down?
Because you got to stack the bags. You know, you got to put everything in the bag and then you got to pull it out. It just happened where I had my wallet down. It just happened that one moment where I put my wallet down.
All right.
You got to stack the bags.
I double bag at the self-checkout.
All right.
You got to make sure. Got to double bag. Okay. So,
Doubling
alrighty.
down on hurting the
So many
environment.
weird things.
What is it weird to double bag at the
There's a
self-checkout?
lot of precautions that you take in specific scenarios and a lot of precautions that you don't take in other specific scenarios.
I don't want my groceries. One of my biggest fears is my groceries just dropping out of the bags. And that would just everything spilling everywhere. That would be embarrassing.
But
it would be, but
identity theft, not
yeah, possibly
Not
less embarrassing than losing your wallet.
Yes. Bye, Schaefer.
He's
Love
gotta
you.
go. Bye, Mike.
He's got. Yeah. I just double bag at the. It's easy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
very easy to do.
That's cool. I'm certainly not going to, chide you for taking precaution. What kind of person would I be if that were the case?
Yeah, we like that. We want that for you.
I just look, there was a reason why I did not mention it for an extended period of time, but then it all worked out. I got my ID back. I still haven't applied for a new Shields card. I'm only $25 away from getting a discount, so I got to go back to Shields.
I'm glad you were able to fly, and I'm glad that no one stole your identity.
It was, somebody might have my ID, but
No, your identity from your credit card.
Oh, it got locked.
Okay, that's good.
It's okay.
One time I was in Vegas, and
You got your identity stolen?
I had my card in my wallet, and they were like, the credit card company called me, and they were like, "You are being frauded right now."
They got you.
They were like, "Did you make?" And this is like before it was really, all of this
Lockdown.
stuff happened on the internet.
What year was this? This is actually curious to me.
It's like probably 17 or 18, somewhere in that
okay.
range. Like
If
They
you
thought,
said
you being in Vegas was an unusual purchase.
yeah, but I was being frauded. I
Wow.
was being frauded, so I had to shut it down.
that is scary.
Yeah,
I
was young enough to where I think I had the one credit card, and
Yeah.
like that was it. And if
Yeah.
it went over, it was like I'm toast.
Yeah.
And so it was just a really sticky situation.
But
we got out of it.
See, if I just lost my credit card and somebody picked it up and started spending things, right? It's just like, all right, I'm an idiot. And then I got even more unlucky. That the person who found it ended up not having morals, right? But if my crap just got stolen out of thin air,
It's very frustrating.
it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
I got my Venmo got shut down.
Oh my God.
So
Is there anything that
sort of a long story. I'll not bore you with the details, but basically I was frauded on Venmo as well. And then it was just locked after they didn't help me for a long time. And then it was just locked for a long time.
did you ask, was there anything I could do about this? And they were like, no. Or they're
Just bad
did
at
they-
customer service.
Did they identify, like maybe you signed up for something you shouldn't have signed up for?
Nah,
or
they
did
figured out
something?
what happened. They just
Okay.
couldn't,
Yeah.
they just didn't know what to do about it.
See that
They were like, yeah, this kind of stuff happens all the time. I'm like, well, I would rather it not.
yeah. I got pissed off at the Apple store one time because my phone kept breaking. Like I was getting like things of like Apple iPhones, and the iPhones kept breaking the same way every time. Like they were like, the brain's dead. Apparently the brain of my phone would just die. And I went through 3 phones in 3 years, and it was all the same stuff. Like it was all the same action. And I told him, I go, am I doing anything wrong?
Yes.
Like
Good question.
what am I doing? Because this is now the 3rd time this has happened. And clearly,
Something's
like
not
this is
working.
a pattern. And they go, no, it just happens. No, this just happens. And I go, why? Just what? Why? Like, why should I buy this phone now? That the brain keeps dying. And apparently there's nothing I can do to stop it.
That's really weird.
I found out myself because those people are useless. I just had too much storage. It didn't clear my storage enough. It didn't update my phone. So now I always
They
clear my
just wanted
storage.
you to keep buying phones.
I know.
Yeah.
Just don't. If something keeps happening and I ask you, what can I do better? And you tell me nothing, That is probably the easiest way to piss me off. That and saying the Hammond, Indiana Bears.
But sometimes that is true, though. Sometimes there is nothing you could do, and it just happens. But
that's frustrating.
Not in that situation.
None of that situation. Connor, this was fun. I always appreciate it.
It's a great time.
It's always a great time. I always like it when you narrate my life. Oh, Buff Scorpion. It goes, of course, Matt had 3 broken phones in 3 years. I've had the same phone for 6 years. Wow. Congrats, Buff Scorpion. You're so great. You're so awesome.
I don't think I've ever broken a phone in my life. I'm under no concern about it.
Yeah.
Like they asked me at the beginning of the deal every time. They're like, did you want to do the warranty, the protection? I'm like, I've never, ever needed it. And I feel like I got through the point in my life where I would break my phone. I mean, I suppose the introduction of this child leaves open more possibilities that I could break my phone.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But just never have thought that was an issue.
I always get the warranty on my phone.
Yeah, you probably need it.
I always get the Apple Care. There's never been a moment where I don't go.
That's a good plan for you.
You know, I get the Apple Care.
Let me tell you why this plan is right for you.
Every time I buy a phone, I know I'm probably going to end up, this is going to extend to 2 phones, more than likely. You know, the longest I've had a phone is 2.5 years.
Wow.
I think I just use it a lot. I just use it so much.
Everyone uses phones a lot.
I know, but I use it 7 hours a day, every day.
There's people who do that very routinely, if not more.
I don't know. I just know. I just get the warranty. I could never be like you.
No, I think you need it. I think it's a good thing for you because you have enough experience and you know what kind of person you are.
Here's the thing though. My breaking my phone is it's not me dropping it or it cracking or it negligence in that way.
But
it's not. I don't have cracked screens and the thing is broken.
There's kinds of people who have broken phones, And there's kinds of people who don't.
But I don't have.
Just like there's root beer people and there's non-root beer people.
Why? Yeah, I did not like yesterday that you apparently did not like. You don't like root beer, and then you were like, "Oh, you're a root beer."
No,
guy.
I don't like root beer. That's separate. But I just identified you as a root beer guy. Not that I think that's a bad thing, but I just feel like you are a root beer guy.
I'm no longer.
Josh definitely seems like a root beer guy.
We're gonna drink so much root beer at the Village,
dude. Culver's root beer.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Any restaurant, any fast food restaurant that goes, this is ours. Like we got our own root beer or we got our own dipping sauce or this is what we make this in-house. I will have that immediately.
The Buc-ee's sodas are so pointless.
Yeah.
Are they like Walmart? Like I love a Kirkland brand. Like I'm just like,
Do you ever get the Casey's brand
sodas? No, I get the Casey's brand water.
That's fine.
Okay, sure.
And that's just water.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's cheaper than anything else. So no, I've never gotten the Casey's sodas. Casey's coffee is okay. But the Culver's root beer, that's great.
Can confirm.
Just got a tweet from our dear friend Sam.
Hi, Sam.
What kind of condition does McMaster keep his car in? That plus phone really gives a full picture.
Ooh,
I agree.
Okay.
Do you want to share this with the people?
No, it's clean. Get out of here. You and Peterson.
You got a clean car?
Yes. You and Peterson are ridiculous. You and Peterson are ridiculous. When you guys hopped in my car, was it vacuumed? No. All right. Was it clear? And were the seats wiped down? And was it smelly? Yes, the seats were wiped down. And no, it was not smelly.
Bit of a hockey locker room in
there. Because there's a hockey bag in there and there's nowhere else for me to put it. Get out of here. Get out of here.
You can put it in your apartment.
Stop. No, because it'd be even smelly. How could I call the baseball team smelly and then have a hockey bag in my apartment?
That's true.
How big of a hypocrite would I be?
Just, I don't know.
Secondly, my car did not smell. This is ridiculous.
I'd like to go smell your car.
It's not.
I think I'll have to go take a peek.
Good content. We got 7.5 minutes.
No, the passenger seat currently is not clean.
Okay.
The passenger seat has a
how many
pair of shoes in it.
How many formerly used drink cups / bottles?
There's two. There's one in the seat and there's one in the cup holder. Only two.
That's not overly excessive.
No, I keep a relatively clean car, and I know when I'm going to pick somebody up, I go and I make sure everything's clean. And I wipe everything down.
The day he took Peterson to the movies, he was walking around the studio that day going, I gotta clean my car out. Like you could tell he's getting antsy for the show to get over because he knew he had things to do.
But I think what Sam was wondering about is sort of the everyday condition, you know.
And the everyday condition probably isn't to the point of it's not to a high standard. It's not disgusting, but it's not
Okay.
the cleanest it can be. Yes, if I had to pick people up right now and take them places, I would probably have to take about 5 minutes to like make sure that my car is up to standard. Is it
That's fair.
Is it a trash can?
It's not crazy.
No, it's not. Carol goes, I heard Matt is back to littering white monsters around the office and now in his car too.
Is this true?
No.
No,
When was the last white monster incident?
No, it's been a while. I
we
don't
don't
know.
even have any in this building anymore.
I know. Well, I've gone through my two.
Well, there was a pink monster in that
Yeah, we got those.
cardboard thing for a few days.
That was my
but it wasn't open, and I didn't consider it to be a nuisance.
that was my second emergency backup monster.
Steve King, if you're listening, we need more Coca-Cola products.
I had one
Oh my
emergency
God.
white monster in my desk and one emergency monster here, and I've since gone through both emergency white monsters.
Now what? Now you have to drink this
A
weird
dirty
Harry.
Yeah, I got to drink a weird Harry. The dirtiest of Harrys is what I drank today, and now
Nice.
I
Hey,
have.
Harry, you never called.
Well, now I'm drinking my coffee water. So
Oh, you got it. Oh, you have an Americano and a dirty Harry?
yeah, I just put water back into
Whoa.
the coffee. That's when everyone thought I was drinking a beer that one time. It was just water in my old coffee.
Sounds like it tastes bad.
It tastes great.
All
You
right.
were there when I put Gatorade in my coffee when I was dying during the College World Series.
Yeah. I thought that was a bit.
I was on.
confused by that. I thought you were trying to just get a laugh out of people.
It was day 8 of the College World Series, and I was drowning and I was dying, and I needed electrolytes and caffeine at the same time. And
We all
I go,
been there.
I'm going to put Gatorade in coffee, and we're gonna figure it out.
Cereals will do that to you.
Makes you do funny things.
Luckily, this summer you'll have a bunch of root beer at your disposal.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I don't have to do the morning show beforehand, which was the real
Well,
killer of it
yeah.
all. But now I don't. Now I'm in such a great time slot. Thank you so
Now,
much.
Mike Schaefer will have to.
and you'll
Yeah.
zoom in for an hour, right?
We'll see. Seems unnecessary.
Connor, I love you. That's
I
crossover.
love you.
You're great. You're a great guy. Crossover proud by Ever Love of Concrete Repair and all out everloveofconcrete.com. Middays Matt coming up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson here on a beautiful, I want to call it beautiful, pretty good looking Tuesday. Weather was phenomenal yesterday, should be pretty good today. If all of you who are into golfing, get your 9 in today, maybe a little bit after work, get a quick little round, maybe go to a par 3, maybe a longer par 3 potentially, get some swinging. I know that leagues are coming into action right now. I know that leagues are starting across the metro. Maybe everyone knows that you start golfing in April to get ready for that member guest. All right. You got to start prepping right now. If you're going to go ahead and have a good business tournament, right? You're going to go to a charity outing with your coworkers, or you're going to be a part of your member guest tournaments come July and August. This is when you start scoring. This is when you start golfing. This is when you start getting out there. So, good weather today, much better than what it was the last couple of weeks felt like we were in Seattle. We were like Seattle without the good seafood, or the good salmon in particular. So I tell people this all the time and they laugh at me. Omaha, good seafood. Haven't been disappointed.
Yeah.
Shucks, great. Sandpoint, RIP, but that was phenomenal when it was there. Got some great options with the sushi. People are shocked when you tell them that the most landlocked state in the union has some really, really good seafood. Also some good burgers around too. Probably need to go and pick. It feels like a burger week for me. I've been limiting because of the diet. Not this week. Feel like having just a disgusting lunch.
Ooh.
One of these days. Just one of those where it's like puts you out of commission for about 6 hours. Kind of one that puts you on the couch, and you get to watch the NBA playing when you're just feeling the pit in your stomach.
That's the dream, isn't it, folks?
Isn't it the dream? Don't we all love the play-in? Isn't it just the greatest thing of all time?
It's finally here.
God, I feel bad for the Atlanta Hawks. Or sorry, the Miami. No, the Miami Heat, because the Hawks are good enough to make the playoffs, and the Bulls have decided to be bad enough to be in the NBA lottery. And now the Heat are they're the only one there. The gang is gone. We used to trust every year that the Hawks, Heat, and Bulls were going to be in the play. Now, you got the Orlando Magic and the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets. Ugh. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Hornets trying to break the longest playoff drought in the league tonight.
They have, I'll tell you this right now, if the Charlotte Hornets had a better than 0.5% chance of having the number 1 overall pick, I would rig it for them. I would rig the draft for them.
You think the league could embrace that, huh?
We are going to embrace that today. The NBA draft lottery is out. Now, look, I understand this is Omaha. I understand there's not a lot of interest in the NBA. But listen, this is a fun exercise, all right? Josh and I are going to pretend to be the league at some point today. And we are going to tell you exactly how we each individually would rig the NBA draft lottery to give this league the best results it possibly could have in the future. And I think if there was any year to rig a draft lottery, this would be it. This is prime rigging year. The last time that it was really advantageous for the league to rig a draft lottery, and they totally did it and they got away with it, was the Zion Williamson draft lottery.
It worked out for everyone.
They pulled the strings massively in that lottery because people forget at that point Anthony Davis was not going to get traded to the LA Lakers because the Lakers did not have enough draft capital to give them. What did the league do? The Lakers did not own their first round pick unless they got into the top 4. They were like the 13th team in the draft. They got to the top 4. They got the 4th overall pick in that draft. They gave the 3rd overall pick to the New York Knicks, who then took RJ Barrett. They take the second pick to give Memphis, who still is a town that probably shouldn't have an NBA team. They gave them the second overall pick to have John Morant, and then they gave New Orleans Zion Williamson, so they'd be more willing to move off of Anthony Davis and be like, oh my God, we now have a young piece. We can get rid of AD. We can get the 4th overall pick, and we can get all the young players from the Lakers. So we could have this great core that definitely would flourish into multiple playoff appearances and deep runs in June and July, right? No, that never happened. But
I can't wait for you to tell us all why the Bulls should have the number 1 pick.
no, I did not give the Bulls the number 1 overall pick.
Okay.
I definitely did move the Bulls
Up a couple spots.
Yes. To the place where they belong, to the place where they always have that pick. They're in love with the pick that I gave.
Oh, I think I know what's happening.
I think you know exactly what's happening. So we'll talk about that. We'll also keep a little bit of an NBA flavor going today when it comes to college basketball, because we're going to talk about Mike Malone, the former NBA champion, the longtime head coach of the Denver Nuggets, made his first big move yesterday. Actually made a couple of big moves. Kim English, the former coach of the Providence Friars, who formerly was an assistant coach of Tennessee and of Colorado, joining Mike Malone's staff at North Carolina. So clearly, North Carolina has fully embraced the going away from the Carolina men thing. They're like, nope, we're going to bring in an outside hire, and then we're on top of that going to bring in, let that outside hire do whatever he wants when it comes to his assistant coaches, which I've always mentioned this before with Nebraska basketball, or Nebraska football rather, where you see bad organizations in the NFL go from, we're going to have an offensive mind for our head coach. Then they go to the defensive mind for the head coach. Then when they fire the defensive mind, they go into the, all right, we're going to get a veteran head coach, right? We're going to get a guy who's won before, who can bring some professionalism to our department. And then when he gets fired, they go back to the offensive-minded head coach, then the defensive-minded head coach, and then who knows what happens from there. That's what bad organizations do. Look at the Browns, look at the Jets, look at the Jaguars, look at the Bears, right? This is a common theme. Nebraska football has done this thing where they go, hey, we're going to have a Nebraska hire. We're going to have a in the family hire. Then they go out of the family. Then they go in the family. Then they go back out of the family. Then they go back in. Think about this, right? You go from Frank in the family, Callahan out of the family, then to Bo in the family, then to Riley out of the family, then back to Frost in the family, then to Rule out of the family. Is North Carolina setting up to do that? This would be, it's just a funny hypothetical to have out there where if Malone doesn't work out, you think they'd probably go back with the family. But letting him do whatever he wants. He said, see ya, Dylan Mingo. 5-star commit, point guard, who was going to come to the team, said, nope, we're good. We're going to take this guy from Virginia Tech, Neo Advalis, 6'9" point guard from Va Tech, and to be a North Carolina Tar Heel. Their first big decision in Chapel Hill under Mike Malone. Does it affect Nebraska in any sort of way? We're also going to talk about NBA coaches potentially having success in college basketball and the very funny situation that both North Carolina and Nebraska is in, where they both have a previous NBA head coach, a previous NFL head coach manning their college programs right now. And so we'll kind of make some comparisons and talk about that. I'm not going to pit Fred or Matt against one another. I don't want to do that at all. I think that'd be unfair. But we're definitely going to talk about kind of the dueling results you've seen from two coaches who had pretty similar fates when they went to the pros in terms of how it didn't go very well. And then additionally, how you can definitely look at both Fred's time in Chicago and Matt's time in Carolina and say, yeah, obviously they didn't get the job done and they ended up losing their jobs, but you can definitely say there was negligence or poor performance elsewhere that definitely did not allow them to reach their full potential in that league. We'll also talk about a guy who Nebraska basketball is definitely looking for him to reach his full potential, and Pryce Sandfort returning to Nebraska next season.
They had another one during the crossover, right?
Cale Jacobson,
Yeah.
coming back. I don't think that was really ever in doubt.
Yeah.
But I think
I read it and I said to myself, didn't we know that already?
yeah, it's just one of those things where you assume now we have to. We are in the era where we're like, you have to now say, hey, he's coming back, even though it just used to be, all right, well, if they don't enter the transfer portal in the first couple of days, then you're probably good, right? Now you have to kind of confirm it. Cale coming back. Obviously, I mean, if they lost Cale, that would have been shocking, considering just how he's grown up in the program, how he's an in-state kid, a Ashland Greenwood legend when it comes to high school basketball, and the way that, I mean, I really believe this, man, where it's like, I think for Nebraska to be successful, it wasn't just a, hey, we got to get all the portal guys. Like, if you see what, like, Fred was really lacking high school development within the program for his first couple of years. Now, obviously, like, he got Bryce McGowan's from high school, and he ended up getting drafted. Now is like playing in the NBA. But I mean, like, from a winning and program perspective, like, they didn't really have a lot of guys who stayed on the team, who they recruited from high school, that developed within the program, that helped them out. They had 3 guys do that this season. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they found a lot of success with having dudes like Frager, Jacobson, and Sam, who came up within the program, stayed within the program, and helped build that culture. And then you can really add on Jamarcus as well, because he spent 2 years with Nebraska and had that weird gap year with Rhode Island. But anyway, Cale staying, Pryce staying. What can Pryce do? What if Pryce Sandfort has the same exact year next season as he did last season? Are we putting 21 in the rafters?
Oh.
Is he the 5th Husker to get his number retired if he were to do the same thing? And also, too, this is a fun little exercise that I did it a little bit with Gary in the morning show, but we never like fully committed to it. Like, we never did a full list. Who are the best transfer portal acquisitions in the NIL era for Nebraska? So really pinpointing like 2020 to now. Best NIL era, best transfer portal era acquisitions across all teams. Women's basketball, softball, baseball, men's basketball, football. Who are the best and most impactful acquisitions? And where does Pryce Sandfort rank now within those? And where could he rank when his career is all said and done? And then we're going to do the draft lottery. We're going to have some fun with that. We'll also do a lot of NBA draft stuff, or NFL draft stuff, rather. Michael Severe will be joining the show at 11:20. Shane Brugler is a guy that him and I both really like. He creates The Beast, which is the all-encompassing, super, super detailed NFL draft book, essentially, that dives deep into a lot of different prospects across the country. We're going to read you some excerpts about Nebraska's prospects in The Beast.
A dramatic reading of The Beast?
A dramatic reading of The Beast.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
You're the one who added the dramatic part of it, but I can dramatize an NFL draft prospect readings, prospect reviews, scouting reports, if you will. So we'll do that. We'll read about Emma Johnson. We'll read about Deshaun Singleton. We'll read about Sierra Wright.
The actor?
Yes, the actor who's been rising up some boards after he was snubbed from being in the NFL Combine. So we'll talk about Sierra. We'll talk about Deshaun. We'll talk about Emma Johnson. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be very mad if Emma Johnson ends up going to the
Minnesota. Yeah.
It's kind of turned out the last couple of years that the players I loved ended up going to teams.
Just makes a lot of sense
in the
for him
NFC
to go to the
North.
Vikings.
51 overall pick. He had a top 30 visit. We'll see what happens at 32 with the Seattle Seahawks. Do the Seahawks go safety? Do the Seahawks try and boost their interior offensive line, or do they go running back? I'm not going to say it. Wouldn't it be crazy, though? No, I'm going to say it. What if Seattle drafted Emmett at 32 overall? Hey! What if he did that? Crazier things have happened in the NFL draft. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but how awesome would that be? He took a top 30 visit with Minnesota. You don't just hand that out willy-nilly. That's the one thing. I see all these mock drafts that have Jadarian Price going 51 overall to the Minnesota Vikings, but you don't spend a top 30 visit on a guy that you're not willing to even take in the second round, you know? And this is a very big draft for the new regime over in Minnesota because they have not had their top picks hit as of late. Mike Schaefer can tell you all about that as a Minnesota Viking fan. So big draft for the Vikes coming up. It seems like Matt Miller went ahead on Rich Eisen and talked about his Sharpie picks, the picks where it's just like, all right, these are the guys where every mock draft I'm putting these dudes with these teams.
Okay.
Dylan Tiedemann, the safety out of Oregon, is basically being handpicked at this point to be the Harrison Smith heir after the longtime Minnesota Viking has finally retired. What a great Harrison Smith, definitely one of my favorite NFC North players. Definitely one of my favorite players where it's like I hated playing against him, but I had a tremendous amount of respect for what he did. Him and Jordy Nelson. I hated Jordy. Hated him with a passion. But at the same time, can't help but respect him. Harrison Smith, that guy. It seems like Minnesota definitely going to go ahead and just knock that out of the park and just get it done and getting his replacement. We're also going to talk about the Big East. We have some shakers and movers in the Big East. Xavier spending some money. Villanova spending some money. St. John's is spending some money. There was a great article from Tom Chattel that kind of detailed the money situation over on the hilltop for Creighton. So we will read Tom's article. We will talk about, and he got some quotes from Alan Huss. And Alan kind of, we interviewed Huss a lot. And we actually got the numbers back from Blue Jay Overtime in terms of all the assistant coaches that we interviewed for Blue Jay Overtime. I want to shout out Coach Murfeld, doing a great job, who is returning to go and help Coach Huss this season.
Has Creighton released a graphic?
I don't know if they've released a graphic for Murph, but he definitely deserves it for all of the time and service he's given to that university. I definitely, I mean, look, it's a coaching staff that has been incredibly loyal to Coach Mack. And there definitely are questions of, you know, these guys are Creighton's coaches, but they were Mack's guys. Does Mack's guys stay necessarily for Coach Huss? I mean, I don't think that was a massive question, but that is something that you can think about, right? Especially with Coach Vanderloo, you know, retiring with Mack. Coach Murfeld, though, returning to Creighton to help Coach Huss. So congratulations to him. But Coach Murfeld sent us, hey, here are all the guys that interviewed for Blue Jay Overtime, and here's how many times they did it. I want to thank Coach Murfeld so much. They gave us Huss 6 times. You know, they let us interview. I mean, everyone knew that Coach Huss was going to be the next head coach of Creighton, and they were nice enough to say, okay, we're going to put him in front of the spotlight as much as possible and give him interviews here on 1620 The Zone of the postgame. And so we talked to him a lot, man. Like, we talked to him plenty. Straight shooter. Just always called it like it was. Like, always just kind of said, hey, you know, this is how we feel, and this is how this guy's going to develop, and never held anything back. And that's kind of what he did in Chattel's article, and kind of gave you the lay of the land of what financials might look like for the Blue Jays and for other teams across the country. So we'll comment on that article. We're going to comment on another article. Kirby Smart and Georgia are in a very interesting situation where there are more than half the teams in the SEC that are spending more money than Georgia, reportedly, according to On3 this season. Yet, Georgia is using a lot of old school recruiting to still keep their top classes. But there's a trend going right now. 2024, number 1 overall class in the country to belong to the Bulldogs. 2025, number 2 class belong to the Bulldogs. In 2026, though, they dropped to 5. There was a report, I think it was about last year, that they were doing some old school, hey, look at all we've won and look at our draft picks and whatnot. And now Kirby is kind of revealing, you know, they're competitive with what they're spending. It's not like they're nickel and diming things, but things are changing a little bit from Georgia. At the same time, though, they've won back-to-back SEC championships, and we kind of just ignore that. They've gotten the bye twice. And I just feel like we're kind of, you know, their standard was so high in terms of what they accomplished winning those back-to-back national championships that them not making the national championship seems like they're taking a step back, even though they've won the SEC 2 years in a row. It's a little fascinating what's going on in Georgia. Is it just kind of them changing with the times? Is there a fall off going to happen? I don't know if I would go that far, but things are things are kind of moving. Things are kind of all, the environment is changing a little bit for the Bulldogs. And it'll be interesting to see, we've seen plenty of head coaches. Now, granted, we've seen it across both sports, right? Obviously, Nick Saban is the first one that comes to mind when it comes to football, but even in basketball, right? Jay Wright out at Villanova, Roy Williams out in North Carolina, Boeheim out at Syracuse. It was kind of one of those instances where we've seen Tony Bennett over at Virginia. A lot of these coaches just slowly, quietly going away and saying, hey, times are changing. I've accomplished what I've accomplished. I've established my legacy as a coach. I'm no longer going to do it. Is Kirby on the way to doing that? He's won 2 national championships. He's been the head coach of Georgia for 11 years. They're the only team to finish top 7 in the final AP poll in the last 9 seasons in college football. Georgia is. As Georgia, slowly, quietly kind of being outspended in their recruiting classes, just taking slight steps back, but still being at the top of the heap. Are we getting to the point where Kirby might be thinking of, all right, I've done what I needed to do?
Oh.
Or am I overreacting? We talk about that here on Middays, Matt. We got a really good show coming up for you. 11:20, we'll have Michael Severe. 12:20, we'll have Tim Verghese. Ahmad Hudson, the 5-star tight end, the dual sport athlete, football and basketball, down to 2 teams.
2.
Hometown LSU and the Nebraska
You don't want to go home.
Huskers.
You don't want to go home.
Can Trey Taylor pull off the peer recruiting upset of the century? Or will he just go to the SEC and stay in Louisiana?
No, they don't win anything there.
They win plenty over in the SEC.
I've seen T-shirts that tout one conference's accomplishments compared to the other.
Yes, we should have bought the Holy Trinity Big Ten shirt. Why we did not?
Is that?
We should have bought the Trinity Big Ten shirt. We've done it all. Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana. Suck on that, losers.
And they waited until Monday to release it because they had to know if Wisconsin won the hockey title.
They needed it, dude. If Wisconsin beat Denver and we could have the Penta, the Penta shirt of the Big Ten, oh, that would have been phenomenal. Coming up next, let's talk about a little Pryce Sandfort. What's his legacy going to be? We find out here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, let's look at these. So Miami plays Charlotte tonight.
That's right.
At Charlotte. Portland plays Phoenix at 9:00.
That's right.
And then tomorrow we'll have Orlando, Philadelphia. So the real NBA playoffs don't start until 4 days from
Saturday.
now. Yes, April 18th, when Toronto. No one gets that reference. You ever watch Game of Zones from Bleacher Report? It was back when Bleacher Report was super creative.
No.
And like they invested a lot of money into like creating some like new things, and they really gave a damn. Now they're
Novel
kind of
idea.
now they're just kind of like a social media, conglomerate, whatever.
They love the clicks.
Yeah, it's whatever. But they Game of Zones was a thing that they created where they essentially
I do remember the name.
they took the NBA and they adapted it to like Game of Thrones storylines. And so like, the White Walkers were the Spurs, and Tyrion was like Kevin Durant, and there was when like Ned Stark got locked up. That was like when Charles Oakley got locked up by the New York Knicks and
That's right.
whatnot. And so there was anyway, Brian Windhorst was Brian Windhorse, and he would like
that makes
travel around Balleros is what they would call it, and he would tell people what was going on. And so he would always say, Toronto, my Ravens from Toronto have gone mute. So I can never say Toronto the same way. I will always say it that way. So Toronto takes on Cleveland. Minnesota takes on Denver. God, like I need Minnesota in the Eastern Conference. Like I need like air.
It would be great for the
Dude,
league.
I just need Ant Edwards just carving through the East, because it's just like this cat, man. Like, you got to play so many good teams in order, and so many superstars in order to get to the NBA Finals, where it's like just, I would love to be Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and just have I would love to be the Celtics and just have your best player out the entire season long. And it seems like at this point, everybody's like sexy, sneaky pick that isn't the Oklahoma City Thunder is the Boston Celtics.
In a throwaway year with zero expectations, they've garnered the 2 seed and are favorites in the East.
Who do they have to beat? New York?
That would probably be the money series, yes.
Are you really threatened by Detroit? I used to think that the people who talked about playoff experience were just a bunch of old heads who used it as a lazy excuse to not invest into younger teams.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the whole, they don't have playoff experience was just a very lazy way to be like, oh, I want the people that I'm familiar with to end up in the finals. I'm wrong. I was wrong. It actually does exist. And it does take you 3 to 4 different runs to really be like, okay, like Denver. Like, I think Denver was so much better off. How many times did they have to lose with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic until they finally broke through? Like, how many times did the Bucks have to lose with different variations of Giannis, in order for them to finally win that NBA championship? Like, hell, it took Bron 9 years, 8 years. It took him 8 years. No, it took him 9 years. It took him 03 to 12. It took Michael 6 or 7. Do the meme. Got to get he had to get his ass whooped by Larry, and then his butt whooped by Isaiah and Rodman and Dumars and Aguirre before he finally broke through, and Lambeer. Gotta love the bad boy Pistons. So I talking about the Pistons, I think that's probably the Knicks. The Knicks have taken their lumps. The Knicks in this iteration with Brunson and Cat, they just have a lot of playoff experience at this point. And Cat has taken his lumps too, as being on the Viking or being on the Timberwolves as well. So at this point, you're more of an NBA guy than I am.
Whoa.
3-horse race? Boston, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, with maybe a sprinkle. With a slight little sprinkle of like, what if Denver, LA goes on a run, or what if New York goes on a run?
I would say Denver, New York would be the sprinkle. Yeah.
You're out on the Lakers with the injuries.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I do love that on Instagram, we are fawning over and like creating the hypothetical of like, what if LeBron at 41 does it? Like, what if he
puts them all on his back again?
I know it's fun to do all of the highlight reels and to celebrate a great career. It ain't going to happen. He's going to look great in Cleveland next year. I have been watching some Bronny highlights, though. I'm not trying to be that guy. He's gotten better, though. Bronny actually looks like in this stretch, in this stint with no Reeves and no Luka, he's actually gained some weight. He's gained some muscle. He looks quicker off the dribble. I think him playing for the South Bay Lakers has helped his confidence. His stroke looks pretty good. He's gotten better.
I have heard this take from some NBA people, and I'm going to take their word for it.
He's gotten better.
I'm not watching.
He is. If we're going off of like the history of where he was picked, I mean, how many guys like picked that late in the draft ends up like being a contributor on good teams, right? It doesn't happen that often. So I think you can spin zone it into the Lakers were right. I could spin zone it into, I'm sure there were plenty of draft prospects if their dad was LeBron James, they had that full-fledged support. They could probably end up having a longer career maybe than they were projected to. But credit to Bronny. It's one thing we always talk about nepotism. Like, there's a difference between nepotism and taking advantage of it, right? Like, if you take advantage of your nepotism and you just become great, I feel like nepotism be damned at that point, right? Joe Buck is a great example. Obviously, his father being, a legendary broadcaster definitely helped him to be where he is. Noah Eagle's the same way. Noah Eagle got propped up by his father being Iron Eagle. The guy's still great. He's still great. Mm-hmm. Jack Collinsworth is a great example of why we get mad about it. Great example of nepotism. Ty Gibbs. Joe Gibbs' you know who Ty Gibbs is? Joe Gibbs'
I know Joe Gibbs.
Grandson. Well, Joe Gibbs is the owner of the very legendary Joe Gibbs Racing. Ty Gibbs just won his first race. Nepotism hire for a very long time. Ty just won in Bristol. No longer a nepotism hire. A great racer. You can break through those expectations or break through those, I guess, categorization if you're good. Bronny hasn't done that yet, but he's getting better. So credit where credit is due. Let's talk about
Joe Gibbs, also a football coach.
I know Joe Gibbs coached.
You gotta say it, or people are going to text you, man.
I know he coached the Washington Redskins. I'm aware. But Joe Gibbs Racing is awesome.
Very good.
Anyway, we're also aware of the fact that Pryce Sandfort is coming back to Nebraska. Pryce Sandfort in his first year of, by the way, too. I know Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with the Washington Redskins before.
But you got to say
it. I know. I should know better. Pryce Sandfort, though, went ahead, committed back, recommitted. Is that a way of saying it? Declared he's re-signing. We need to just re-sign, right? I hate using re-sign for college basketball, college sports. But he re-signed with Nebraska. He's coming back for next season. What if he does the same thing next season as he did this season? What if Pryce Sandfort ends up being an all Big Ten first team guy again? Nebraska ends up making the NCAA tournament again. Pryce Sandfort is a part of 2 more NCAA tournament wins. That would mean in his 2 seasons, he'd be a 2-time all Big Ten first team guy, have 2 NCAA appearances, and 4 NCAA tournament victories. Everybody else who has had their number retired for the University of Nebraska in basketball has been with the team for at least 3 seasons. Ty Lue, Dave Hoppin, Eric Bykowski, and Stu Lance. All of them have been with the Huskers for 3+ years. Okay? But none of them, especially in terms of playoff success, hypothetically, if Pryce were to do this again, none of them would have had as good of a 2-year stretch as Pryce has. Where would his legacy? I'm very curious as to where people, would his number be retired? There's a great comment here from Quentin. Thank you so much, Quentin, commenting on our Zone TV YouTube page. Make sure to join in the Zone TV YouTube page. We have an incredible community. Quentin goes, how can you retire someone's jersey if they haven't given their whole career to your program? Now, I think I'm going to push back a little bit and say, look, 3 years is kind of my minimum. Like if you have 1 year somewhere else and then you come to Nebraska or you go to another school and you give 3 great seasons, I could be like, all right, that 1 year was whatever. You had to find your way. You came here. You made a big impact. Okay. But Pryce wouldn't be like he wouldn't be an all-time scorer. He wouldn't have like the total stats or the number stats or anything like that. Like he wouldn't have that type of number counting legacy. But the 2 seasons that he would have, let's hypothetically, if we were to just do the same thing over again, the 2 seasons, I don't think you could find another 2 seasons that would have as high of an impact in Nebraska basketball history, especially considering when we had the postseason success that could be wrapped up into it. So it's a very interesting question to have. I texted one of my very good friends, a former co-host of mine, Cole Skukenholz, who is a die-hard, long-time, all-time fan of Nebraska basketball. Okay, he is one of those Nebraska basketball diehards. I texted Cole. I go, let's say Pryce does it again. Let's say same thing. He just redoes that. Cole goes, he'd be the 5th banner in PBA. I'm very curious as to what fans would say about that. Now, for me, I don't know what I would do, Josh. I don't know where I would be on this decision. I think it would actually have to happen first. And then it's hard for me to say you get 2 years and retire your number. That's a hard pill for me to swallow.
Wouldn't that, to some extent, be the new normal of things? Like, yeah, I'd love for a guy to play 4 years and give his heart and soul to the University of Nebraska, but aren't a lot of these basketball players just sort of wandering their way through the desert, finding where they fit and calling it home for 2 years?
I mean, that's kind of the model that Fred has adapted.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of Kale, I mean, like, you know, a guy that you could talk about maybe. What if Frager takes a big step next year and then has, like, I don't know, that I feel like Braden, it's just like we're talking, he's got to do this like it's a little bit more out there. With Pryce, all he would have to do is do the same thing again. I don't know. I think I would lean yes. I would lean yes, especially with the playoff success. I would lean yes if he did the same exact thing again.
In a room with not a ton of banners and history, I think you might be a little more willing to. Wait. Let's have a night. Let's get some butts in the seats when Queens College comes to town.
So this is a great question. Is there also the pressure of like, hey guys, we have to have somebody from the NCAA tournament team's number retired?
100%.
Does that play into it?
Yes.
We got to have somebody up there. Because I think about that with the Cubs a lot. Because I don't think the Cubs are going to get one guy from that 16 team up in the Hall of Fame.
Staggering.
Not one player. Like Lester might be on the ballot for maybe 3 or 4 years, but and maybe he retroactively gets in through the older, but I just don't see it, right? Like, but do you go if you're the Cubs? Hey, we got it. We got to have one of these guys. Mm-hmm. How do we not have a player's number retired? Does that help Sandfort out? If he, once again, he's going to have to make an all Big Ten team again. He's going to have to be a 20-plus point scorer again. They're going to have to make another NCAA tournament, at least win another game. Does that play into it? Because already, it's
a lot of ifs.
It's a lot of it, but so there's a lot of ifs, but it's also he's already done it. He's already done it in the Big Ten. It's not like he's got to do something he's never done before. And you can also make the argument, man, like what a big jump he made from year 1 to year 2. And it's not like at the end of the year when Pryce was playing some of his best basketball, it's not like he took anybody by surprise. He had a great NCAA tournament and he was the number 1 guy in the scouting report. And he was getting held and grabbed and harassed. Now, I think if he were to repeat what he did next season, what he did this season, he for sure would be the best transfer of the NIL era for Nebraska athletics. Some names he would compete with: Rank Mask, Bryce Williams, Merritt Beeson, Jazz Shelley, Trey Palmer, and Cade Povich. Now, those are names that I'm thinking immediately in the NIL era. I go, those are the best transfers Nebraska's had. The one he would have to compete against, the one he'd really have to compete against, that I don't know if he were to win, would be Jordy Fromm, formerly Jordy Ball. Pryce versus Jordy.
Okay, yeah.
Would be let's say
kind of
Pryce,
forget of her as a transfer.
Yeah, but let's say Pryce repeats or has a very similar year next season. Pryce versus Jordy for best transfer in the NIL portal era. I think Jordy wins, especially if they go
like
to
by the summer, you'll see that Jordy surpasses.
I think she's already ahead of him. It'd be such a great comp. What if they go to another Sweet 16 next year and he's the best player on the team? So it's 2 years in a row of going to Sweet 16s with this guy's the best player on the team.
What if Jordy goes to the Women's College World Series?
Right? It would be Jordy. He would come in second. It's a pretty impressive list I put together, though. Merritt was great. Jazz, I think, is underrated. I don't think the impact that Jazz Shelley had on the women's basketball team, I think, is understated. Jordy, obviously, there. One guy that I put that I love him, but he's the next tier would be Jawan. I think Jawan would be tier 2. But I think solidly, and unless I'm missing anybody obvious, Rink, Bryce, Merritt Beeson, Jazz Shelley, Trey Palmer, Jordy Fromm, Cade Povich.
Rink.
Jawan would be tier 2. Brett Sears. I know it was only 1 year. He transferred from Western Illinois, former Leatherneck, ended up getting drafted. He didn't have a great first year with Nebraska, but then ended up turning around. So there you go. What if we're going to ask that question to Michael Severe because there's a football comparison that we have to it that he loves talking about. We talk with the executive director of the Jet Award Foundation coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Tuesday at 11:20 a.m., which means, as always, we bring you director of the Jet Award Foundation. Things have hopefully cooled down a little bit for our next guest, Michael Severe. Are your feet up on the couch? Are you reading some books? Are you watching some new shows? How are you?
I had so much paperwork to get caught up on. Spent about 4.5 hours yesterday going through grant stuff and doing all the expense reports and all that stuff. So I did that yesterday. That was an adventure. I did hear that you don't know anything about Joe Gibbs. What's
Get out of here.
That's what I heard. You don't know anything about Joe Gibbs. Is that true? That's what I was told by a source. I have a source.
The race car owner.
Stop it.
I never 3-time Super Bowl winning coach.
I'm aware of his longtime NFL career of the Washington Redskins and all the Super Bowls he won. We were talking about nepotism, and I brought up that Joe Gibbs Racing, a legendary racing team, which is fact. Joe Gibbs Racing, arguably the greatest racing team of all time. Okay. Nepotism. His grandson, Ty Gibbs, has been given a race car that he probably shouldn't have had, but he was given it, and now he won, and he's broken through the nepotism regime. We were not talking about his legendary coaching career, which I was very well aware of that.
Do you know the three quarterbacks that started the 3 Super Bowls he won?
No, I don't.
Isn't it kind of cool though that he won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks? Do you name one of them? One of them was the first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
No, I can't name any of the 1980s or 1990s.
You don't know the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl?
No, Michael.
Oh, that's information, especially in a city like Omaha where we had the first black quarterback in the NFL, period, in Marlon Briscoe. You should know who the first black quarterback. You don't remember the how does it feel to be a black quarterback that was asked to this particular quarterback?
Remember, I wasn't alive.
Oh, I wasn't alive in the 1950s. I wasn't alive when Marlon Briscoe was playing.
Okay. All right, who was the first black quarterback to win Super Bowl?
Come on, with Doug Williams, man. Grambling State University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Incredible accomplishment. Yes.
Doug Williams, yes. And threw 5 touchdowns. He's incredible. Yep. All in the second quarter. They scored 5 touchdowns.
I knew one. So I know Joe Theismann is one of them.
No, he's not.
Is he not?
They lost. Not.
I was about to say, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know who Joe Gibbs is. I know all the Super Bowls he won. I've never.
Do you know who Mark Rippon is?
Well, is he Blake Rippion's?
I think uncle. I think he's actually. Yeah. I think he's his uncle. I don't think he's his dad. But, yeah. So Mark Rippon won a Super Bowl as a quarterback of the Washington Redskins. Then Redskins. Yeah.
I'm aware of the dynasty. I'm aware of not that. I mean, they were pretty separated, right? I mean, it was
all in, but basically like over 8 years.
Wasn't one in 91?
It's 8 years. Isn't it 8 years? 82. So 82. over 10 years.
82 and 91 are the. I don't know what the middle.
87. Is it 87? It was a strike year. Yeah, it was a strike year. Did is that enough? 3 and 10? Is that a dynasty? No. Okay, that's pretty good. Not a lot of teams have done 3 and 10. I mean, is it 4 teams done 3 and 10?
3 and 10 is obviously a phenomenal organization, a phenomenal Hall of Fame organization, Hall of Fame head coach, right? Like anybody attached to 3 and 10 is going to end up in Canton, but I wouldn't call it a dynasty.
Look what they were doing. Look who they were doing it against, though. I would argue the competition level in the NFC at the time with the Redskins. Well, you had the Commander Redskins. You had the Niners, which were, they won 4 over the course of that amount of time. You had the Dallas Cowboys, who were still really good, right? I mean, it was a pretty good stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Rams were good at the Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, this is 1980s football. Admittingly, is probably my worst subject in terms of sports to talk about. I'll just say it plain, but I know enough to agree with those statements. But anyway,
yeah.
I would say back in the day, well, no one's ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row.
No.
So what would you call a dynasty in the NFL? 3 and 5?
Well, if you look at what the Niners did and what the Cowboys did, and so I would say probably 3 and 5. Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers did 4-6.
Oh, easy.
4-6. Yeah, 4-6 is pretty easy.
I would say 3-6.
3-6 is definitely, yeah.
You went every other.
Every other, yeah,
and you probably, and most teams, right, would probably have a Super Bowl appearance and a loss.
Are the Chiefs a dynasty?
Chiefs
a dynasty? Okay.
Yeah.
Chiefs are dynasty. If the Chiefs are a dynasty, yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
I'd say 3-5. 3 now. Okay, how about this? This is fun. I love this.
All right.
3-7, but you have 5 Super Bowl appearances.
That's a dynasty. That's a dominant. That's a dominant run. Yeah. So
like you
losing, I always say though, losing a Super Bowl takes away, like as great as obviously the Patriots are a dynasty and two separate dynasties, 3 dynasties. But losing Super Bowls like takes away from part of it. You know, like I remember the Giants' losses as well as I remember, besides the Atlanta Falcons was the second.
Yeah, that was
Super Bowl.
What was that?
History.
Was that the Giants' losses? Were they in the 60s or the 70s? Weren't they early 70s?
No, I mean when the Patriots lost to the Giants the 2 times.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
I'm saying
you were talking about the Giants because the Giants lost a lot of Super Bowls.
No,
right?
no. So no, Giants. The Giants never lost a Super Bowl, right?
Am I thinking of NFL championships?
You must be thinking
Super Bowl 35 to the Ravens.
The Ravens, right? Oh, it's Super Bowl. Yeah, 2000. It's 2000. That's right when I started. I quit drinking because of that. No, anyway, so I mean, the Giants have been the 2 wins they had over the Patriots. I think about those as much as I think about some of the wins the Patriots had. So losing Super Bowls, I think, takes away a little bit of your prestige as a because the Niners went there with Montana and then Young and won those 4.
Yeah. Okay, so there's some good examples, but like the Giants in 58, 59, 61, 62, 63.
Y.A. Tittle.
They went to 5 of 6 NFL championships and they lost them all.
They lost them all. Yeah, Y.A. Tittle. And then the greatest run ever is Otto Graham, who played, I believe, 10 years and went to 9 championship games.
With the Browns.
Yeah.
Now, but here's my question, and it's a silly question, but like, obviously not a dynasty, but the Bills going, and so I throw in the Giants going 5 out of 6, and I'll throw in the Bills going to 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Not a dynasty because you didn't win one.
Yeah.
But,
Vikings too.
And the Purple People Eaters. But that's pretty damn good, man. That's pretty damn impressive, in my opinion, to go to 4 straight Super Bowls. I know you lost all of them.
Every loss is like losing 2, right?
Is like winning 2.
No, like losing 2. Like you lose 1 and you're like, oh, that's miserable, right? It feels like the Bills lost 8. Those 4 feel like 8, and then only one of them was close. One of them is a close game, and then you have one where your running back loses his helmet during the game and can't go in. I mean, it's the funny part about it is if they win the 1, right? That field goal is good.
Okay.
If that field goal is good and they win 1, probably a better chance they don't get back.
Oh, sure.
Than going on and losing 3 more, right?
I probably agree with that because there is the hunger of losing 1 and the hunger of wanting to get back to win 1. There's a Super Bowl or World Series or Stanley Cup or any of these championship hangovers exist because of the hunger to win 1. Goes away a little bit. You're like,
bring it back to Nebraska. Okay, so Nebraska loses in 93 against Florida State. Byron Bennett, he had too much time, whatever, he was in a hurry. Missed the field goal. So then they have, for the whole offseason, they have unfinished business. They win in 94.
Yeah.
Right? The question is, if they win in 93, do they come back and they win in 94? But that same team is there in 95 with all of that talent and they win it. It's weird. If they win in 93, do they still get 3 and 4 years?
I think
they still go 60 and 3 or whatever they did. Yeah.
Now, I did a little more research on this. I'm going to set you up for failure here. 94 Nebraska plays 94 Penn State. Who wins?
Penn State. I've said it 100 million times. I will go to my grave saying that. And I think the 94 team in Nebraska was good, but they also were a team that wasn't quite sure what was going at quarterback by that point, because Tommy had been out with the blood clots. Brooke comes in. Brooke plays well. Remember in the Miami game, Brooke played through an interception, got pulled. right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think Penn State's offense, as good as Nebraska's defense, and it was okay. It was good. They went against the weakest of the quarterbacks to play at Miami, right?
Yeah.
They did. He just was. And I think that 94 Penn State puts up a bunch of points on Nebraska. I think it's a shootout. I think Nebraska wins in the end, but I think Penn State wins in the end.
So you forever will hate the Big Ten for shutting down the bowl coalition, correct?
I will hate the Big Ten for not support. You had writers who voted against Penn State who were Big Ten writers. You had the conference didn't put the strength of the Big Ten behind Penn State, especially after the Indiana debacle where they're up 27 or whatever, and they threw 2 Hail Marys basically in the last 2 minutes of the game to close in and make it like it was a closer game than it was, and then they flips over to Nebraska taking over as number 1. I just don't think they support him. And it was because most of the Big Ten teams didn't like Penn State because they had just come into the conference. They were a little bit bitter because of that.
Have you asked that question? Because you're connected to so many people from the 90s teams. Have you asked that question before of like, hey, if you guys lost, have you asked that?
Well, the 93 question? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I talked to Damon about that. We talked about it a number of times because of what they had to put into that off. They put the score and the amount of time up on the clock for every practice. Obviously the unfinished business shirts and mantra was everywhere. So yeah, it meant a lot. I will say the amount of talent they had in 95 though, maybe they don't win in 94. I think they come back and they win in 95.
Oh yeah.
And really the 96 team, if you look at what the 96 team had, and they had obviously a pretty slow start with Scott Frost, who didn't play well early. As a matter of fact, that whole year he didn't play great. But if they don't have the flu issue in the Big 12 championship game, and they win that game, it's hard to argue that they don't, or that they don't win the championship that year.
Yeah.
There's like 4 plays. Outside of the Arizona State game, outside of that game where they got beat 19-0 or whatever, outside of that game, if you go back all the way to 93 and go all the way to 1999, that stretch is as good as Alabama stretch.
Well, that's the thing too. Like when I remember working with Gary and we were talking about like the 99 team and like
best team I watched all year.
And the game against Texas, right? Where they fumble a couple of times, like in the first time that they played, like it really kind of puts in perspective to me because for me, right, I've grown up I've had more years of the playoff era than I've had in the BCS era, right? Just as like a living individual. And so it's like, I've grown up where you can lose a game, right? Or you can lose, now you can lose like 2 or 3 games and you can still be competitive. Learning about the history of Nebraska football and learning about the history of the 90s football in general, college football, and literally being told one play could cost you the entire season. One play could cost you the national championship. Like the margin being so thin it's unlike any sport. It's literally unlike any sport in terms of that era of football. Which is remarkable, which is why so many people loved it.
Yeah. Eric's fumble that ended up costing Nebraska their long home winning streak. Buckhalter's fumble. Mm-hmm. The fumble by William Floyd in 93 that should have been called a fumble, but it was called a touchdown instead, that Nebraska recovered the goal line. Yeah. And that game doesn't even go down the way it ended up going down. There's a bad block call, a clipping call, or block in the back call on a kickoff return that also did the same thing to Nebraska. There's these limited against Clemson in 82. They call back-to-back offside on the center on Dave Rimington. They called him offsides, back-to-back plays. You never know what happens in that game if that doesn't end up happening. So yeah, there's about 10 calls over the course of those years that could have led to Nebraska if they go the other way, winning a national championship again. Yeah.
All right, so. That was a great stroll down memory lane.
I love memory lane. Memory lane's awesome.
I know.
Because we have nothing now.
Well, we do. I have a lot. I mean
in terms of Nebraska. In terms of Nebraska football
for this interview, and we're going to get to none of it because you wanted to falsely claim I didn't know who Joe Gibbs was. Then
I didn't claim it. I got that. I didn't claim it. I got a text about it.
It's ridiculous. No, it was Mike Schaefer who texted you, who wanted to try and trigger me. I know exactly who it was.
I would never say.
Secondly,
connections.
And then everyone loves it when you talk about 90s football. Great job. I'm glad that I could contribute slightly to it, way better than I could in the past. The NFL draft. Yes. Let me just throw out a couple of things here.
Okay.
I'm listening to podcasts and reading stories. Dallas seems like the number one prospect to trade up in this draft. They have 12 and they have 20. They have a need as somebody who's going to wear the green dot on defense. Though a very uncharacteristic move from the Cowboys. Like Dallas just has not, especially since Steven has taken over, they have been way more likely to stand a pat, to kind of sit back and relax, not take the gaudy pick. They've been fairly smart when it comes to drafting, just not handling relationships. When you hear Dallas being the number one team to most likely trade up in the NFL draft, do you buy it or do you sell it?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They've showed what they are since Steven has taken over. And even when he has had pushback from his dad, he has stood firm and ended up taking players that ended up, working out for them. So I don't
Martin instead of Manziel is number one.
That's not even close, right?
Yeah.
You got a possible Hall of Famer and a guy who was out of the league in 3 years. But so it all starts at, I know people say the draft at 2. It starts at 4 for me because Tennessee could do anything. I can see them trading out. I can see them taking Jeremiah Love. I can see them taking the best defensive player on the board. I can see them taking the best offensive lineman on the board. I can see them doing anything. So at 4 is when the draft really starts, in my opinion, because I think obviously you go quarterback at 1, and then you're going to take whoever you think is the best pass rusher at 2, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Bailey.
think that's the one I don't understand. I've gone back and I've watched him, right? And I've said this multiple times. I've watched him. The guy on the opposite side from him on his own team, I thought was better. More explosive, more dynamic.
Was that Lee? Wasn't that Lee? Or
no,
was
it's not. It's not Lee. It's not
Lee's interior. Lee's the interior guy.
It's not
Who's the
his
other
name.
guy? What's his freaking name, Michael?
He was the guy that when I watched tape, when I literally went back and watched them because I wanted to watch Bailey because there was a rumor that Bailey would fall to 8 and go to the Saints. So I wanted to watch more. He did not stand out to me. Like I said, the guy opposite of him was, I thought, much better. So that's not a guy I would take. I'm taking either I'm taking Reese, right?
Maui Noah.
If I'm going in that direction, I don't think I'm going to the best pass rusher on the board for me, in my opinion. That's who I go. Then 3, I think the best offensive lineman goes. Whoever they think that's the best offensive lineman, and then the Titans, you never know what's going to happen. You just don't know with them because they're all over the place. They need so much. If I'm them, I probably if anybody wants to move up, I probably would make that move.
Okay, so
I would trade down if I was them. It's height. It's height. It's Romello height.
Okay,
go back and watch Romello height play. He looks so much better than Bailey.
We can't argue about it, but I'm out on both of the DNs that everybody likes. I'm out on both Bain and Bailey. I don't think Bailey can defend the run well enough, and I think Bain can defend the run well enough. But I've watched some of his tape, where I think he's fast. Don't get me wrong, he's fast, and he's got that great move. His punch when he comes off and his bend, his punch, it's great.
Long run.
But I think that he takes advantage of bad tackle play more than anybody else.
Well, no, you go back and look. He's played against guys that are going to be first round picks.
I know, but
and he hasn't had bad games. He's been dominated.
I'm not out, by the way, I'm not out to the point where he falls out of the first round. I'm just out on being like he's a top 5 pick, right? If he falls all the way to 12, I'm like, you snatch Ruben Bain up as quick as possible, right? If you're Cincinnati, if he's still there at 10, you sprint up to the podium and you take Ruben Bain. I'm just out on him in terms of the top 5 pick. And I am worried about the measurables. I absolutely am.
I'm out on Bailey, not on Bain. I'm out on Bailey, not Bain.
So Shane Brugler, who writes The Beast, who you love. Dang it. He was on Mina Kimes' podcast. I listened to it. It was a great pod.
He's great.
Mina proposed to him a trade. I want to know if you would take this trade too. Dallas gives Tennessee 12 and 20. Okay. Tennessee gives 4 and a 3rd round pick this year. Do you take that if you're Tennessee?
I'm Tennessee? Hell yeah.
If you're Dallas, do you do it?
No. I don't do it from Dallas. I think you need more. I think you need 2 players. You need 2 players. One good player, you need 2 players.
So you would rather have, let's say it's, I don't think Downs will get to 12. So let's say it's Jermod McCoy and they take Messidor at 20. Okay. Would you rather have McCoy and Messidor or Sonny Styles?
Give me the 2 opposed to the 1.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Give me the 2 opposed to the 1. And I like Sonny Styles. And Sonny Styles has the ability to be one of those game changers that you turn in to watch a defensive player in the NFL.
Okay, how about
Michael Parsons is like a guy where you do most people you don't do that. He's a guy that you could tune in to watch.
what if Tiedemann drops 20? You spray. I mean, that would be.
The guy's got all the things that you want. I mean, obviously the measurables, very smart kid, great hands in the secondary.
Yeah.
I think 3 safeties are going to go in the first round, which is a lot for safeties. But I don't know if that's the thing I would out of everything that Dallas needs. I don't know if that'd be the thing.
Okay. Yeah, there's
going to be a wide receiver at 20 that's going to that shouldn't be there.
There's going to be
a wide receiver at 20 that's
there might be 6 wide receivers that go in the first round. I don't think.
I mean, that's about the average. Anywhere from 6 to 8 that have been going.
I have first round grades. I have Tate, Tyson, Lemon, Concepcion, Cooper Jr., and Boston.
And you do have Boston as the first round.
And I have Boston. Oh yeah, I have Boston.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot of debate on if Boston goes in the first round.
I'd like Boston.
What about Fields? Do you like Fields at all?
I haven't watched.
No,
I haven't watched.
Malachi
Fields. Yeah, I saw his tape at the Senior Bowl, and I love his measurables. I don't think I'm educated enough to have a full opinion on that. I think he's great. I think he's going to be I could see because of just how big and dominant he can be. And I watched some of his tape at the Senior Bowl. I'm like, that's a guy who definitely could.
He reminds me of Marcus Colston.
Okay,
that's who he reminds me of. You got to play him in the slot as a big guy and let him dominate over the middle of the field, and then some fade stuff in the end zone. He's limited in his route tree, but he can catch a ton of balls for you. That's what I think he can be.
Michael, I appreciate you greatly. We have to head to a break.
Okay, Shout out to Grand Island. Go Grand Island.
Shout out Grand Island. I'll talk to you. See you, brother. We're going to hit a break. Odd news coming up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh, take her away.
What are we doing? How many?
2.
2. Okay.
Do we have Florida?
Let me plug myself in the chat. Yes, I do. Do you want to start or end in Florida?
Start with Florida.
Okay, we go.
We
to
go.
Florida.
Whoa! I got to guess.
I know.
Let me guess. Where are we in Florida? My apologies.
I'm pulling up the story.
Okay, Fort Myers is my guess.
St. Petersburg.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go St. Petersburg. We'll go elderly woman. We'll go beach, and we'll go restaurant. Where did we end up?
33-year-old woman.
Okay.
At a restaurant.
Let's go. Hell yeah.
Pretty good.
Nice. All right. We'll take it.
A Florida woman tore up a Subway restaurant because she was, quote, upset about the peppers on her sandwich and demanded a new one.
Hell yeah.
After placing an online order, Aminke Clark, 33 years young, picked up her sandwich at a Subway near her St. Petersburg residence. She used Sub Club rewards points, so the meal was free of charge, according to an arrest report. Shortly after, she came back into the store and was upset about the peppers on her sandwich and demanded a new one. A Subway employee told Clark her sandwich was made how she ordered it online, and they would not be making her a new sandwich. In the wake of the hoagie denial, Clark pushed the cash register and printer off the counter.
Yeah.
She then reached into the sanctity of the cookie display and threw multiple trays of baked delicacies onto the floor, resulting in 37 cookie deaths. Clark's, I'm just reading the story.
That's a lot
man.
of money, by the way.
Yeah,
the 37 cookies.
37 cookies. You got to think about your food costs.
That's like
$100.
$100.
You ain't selling 37 cookies in
a
day.
You'd be
Get over
surprised.
yourself.
Subway's
It's
cookie's
a good
pretty
cookie.
good. It's a good cookie.
Clark's Subway rage was recorded by security cameras, and the defendant used her own name and phone number when placing the online order. She's bonded out of jail after posting $500.
I will say that Subway needs to get their crap together.
Whoa, you're team crazy lady on this one.
I'm not in favor of tearing up restaurants and being a nuisance to the people who work there, but I will say Subway's got to figure it out, all right? Because I've had some Subway run-ins as well. I've had some problems at Subways, all right? They need to get tighter. We need to be tighter.
Got to keep it tight.
Keep it tight.
Got to
Subway.
maintain our composure.
So I'm just saying I'm not bailing this woman out.
But
Subway's caused me some problems. Okay. As well. All right, coming up next. What do you got?
Let's see. Short version of this story it takes place in Detroit. Alan, he owns a series of strip clubs in Detroit. After his ex-wife moved in next door to him, he spent $7,000 erecting a 12-foot bronze statue in the courtyard facing his ex-wife's house. It is a statue of the middle finger. Again, that's a 12-foot tall bronze statue of the middle finger pointed at his ex-wife's house.
I love petty. I love petty.
This is not the way to handle your emotions. However,
no, I think it's the exact way to handle your emotions.
It is very funny.
I think this is awesome. I'm in full support of this guy. This is petty. Honestly.
Oh, a new wrinkle as I read on here. I'm sorry.
Oh, what'd he do? Did he commit a crime?
The man says the middle finger is not pointed at his ex-wife, but his ex-wife's new partner.
There you go. Even better. Even better. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. It's not about you, honey. Yeah. It's about him.
Get over yourself, babe.
Yeah, come on. No. You think I'm still worried about you? You still think I'm thinking about you? Honey, I stopped thinking about you a long time ago, all right? It's that joke of a dude you decide to take around everywhere that I'm throwing the middle finger at. Oh, beautiful. This pettiness. Petty, I love it when you spend a lot of money to be petty. And this guy spent a lot of money. 12 feet is a lot. All right? Too much, some would
12
say.
feet, 7 Gs.
It's a lot. Do you know what's a lot too? Making decisions for North Carolina. It's a lot of pressure. Has Mike Malone made his first big one? And how will it go? We talk about it next here at 1620 The Zone.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we got a lot of big stuff out. Earlier today, we were told Ahmad Hudson, the highly touted prospect that everybody is talking about in Lincoln, that people so desperately want him to commit to Nebraska, has come down to two teams. Louisiana State University, LSU, headed by Lane Kiffin and Will Wade, and
Unstable.
Matt Rule and Fred Hoiberg in the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Perfect.
If you
landing
were
spot.
to, by the way, have like opposites in terms of coaches Ahmad Hudson could be coached by, literally, like you have Nebraska, who has two men who, I mean, are very highly respected, have very much come off as just good humans, great people, right? You hear nothing but great things about Fred Hoiberg and the type of person that he is. I've interacted with Matt Rule personally. Definitely has treated me to a high level of respect.
A lot of
in the
people
past.
at the station have interacted with Matt Rule.
That is true. So I don't want to fully go off the ledge of Rule being an awesome dude, right? But me personally, he's always been nice to me, and we've heard other people say some very nice things about Rule. Like two guys that you don't really have to worry about having a ton of scandals, right? Like a ton of like personal issues. And then you go to LSU, and you had two men that not only are all about it, they love it. Lane Kiffin loves being the center of attention.
They would prefer it.
Lane Kiffin loves being the ass. Will Wade has no problem, no issue with bending the rules the way that he wants it. And then when he was hugged, when he came back to Baton Rouge, it was like he was getting released from jail. It was crazy. You would have thought that like Governor Landry bought like the bond for Will Wade out of Murray State. It was insane. So Hudson could not have two coaches that he could potentially commit to that are on the opposite sides of the spectrum. So it's really funny that is his final two decisions, and those are the guys that he could potentially be playing for. Tim Verghese is going to come on the show at 12:20. We're going to go ahead and talk to Timmy V all about it. What does he think? Is it a relationship thing? Is it a money thing? This is a question you got to ask. Right? Is this going to come down to who the highest bidder is, or is this going to come down to who Ahmad Hudson is more comfortable with in terms of both football and basketball? Obviously, based on the history of LSU and what they've spent specifically in this year, in this season in the transfer portal, you definitely don't want to get into a bidding war against LSU for Ahmad Hudson. That seems like a battle that
Have
Nebraska
you seen our Starbucks?
could potentially lose. But if it's a relationship battle, there is some things that Nebraska is very good at when it comes to recruiting, and the relationship building is definitely one of them. It's something that they definitely thrive in. So if it comes down to that, it might be a better outcome for Nebraska than maybe people anticipate. So we'll talk to Timmy V all about it. We have some, I don't want to call it breaking news, but surprising news. And it's not necessarily so surprising that it happened. Well, I guess it kind of is surprising who it happened to as well. But the fact that it just is a thing in general is kind of surprising. Tampering violations have been brought down upon a college football team in the country. And that college football team is none other than the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is on the NCAA.org website. Tampering violations occurred in the Iowa football program when current football head coach Kirk Ferentz and assistant coach John Budmeyer, I don't know his name, I apologize, had impermissible contacts with a student athlete who was enrolled in another NCAA school at the time and who had not yet entered the NCAA transfer portal, according to a decision released by the Division I Committee on Infractions hearing panel. But also committed with the student athlete's parents before the student athlete entered the transfer portal. Ferentz previously agreed that he had also violated head coach responsibility rules due to his awareness and personal involvement in the violations. The school individuals and the NCAA enforcement staff agreed on the facts and the violations in this case. The parties agreed that throughout November 2022, Budmeyer participated in 13 phone calls with the student athlete and or his father, as well as sending 2 text messages. Budmeyer also agreed for the student athlete to speak on the phone with Ferentz, who assured him that he would have a home at Iowa. After those communications, the student athlete entered the transfer portal and a few days later transferred to Iowa. Under current NCAA rules, when a student athlete transferred to a school that engaged in tampering, the student athlete becomes ineligible pending reinstatement. The student athlete competed during the 2023 season before being reinstated. The violations in the case are classified as level 2 mitigated for all parties. So, according to the headline here on the tweet is that wins were taken away, wins were vacated, sanctions have been thrown down. I have to scroll a little bit more to find out. So here are the penalties. The full list of prescribed penalties for this case include as follows: a 1 year of probation for Iowa, a fine of $25,000 self-imposed by the school, a 2-week ban on all football recruiting communication during the 2026 calendar year, which is self-imposed by Iowa, a 24-day reduction in recruiting person days, including 2 weeks during which Ferentz was prohibited from off-campus recruiting activity in 2025, as well as 4 days during when Bud Meyer was prohibited from recruiting during the 2025 spring evaluation period. A vacation records in which student athletes competed while in a vacation of all records in which student athlete competed while ineligible, a 1-game suspension for Ferentz and Bud Meyer during the 2024 football season. So this is something, just because we've all talked about tampering as if it's a fugazi, as if everybody is doing it, as it's the norm, right? You have to go with the times. I mean, Matt Rule to Kyle Crooks essentially kind of communicated that. Look, it's not tampering if everybody's doing it. It's not illegal if no one's getting punished. Well, here you go. Iowa gets punished. Iowa gets sanctioned. Iowa gets probation. They got to pay a fine.
The slowest car speeding has been pulled over.
I know. Out of all the teams that would get punished, Iowa gets punished. Now, very Kirk Ferentz thing to do, where it's just like, all right, just send them all the text messages. I talked to him. Yeah, we did it. It's whatever. All right, cool. YouTube chat saying here that apparently we're speculating that it's Cade McNamara.
Yes. Yes.
What a all of that for that?
Exactly.
Really?
Doesn't seem worth it now, does it?
No, not at all. That sucks. That really sucks. So anyway, we'll see what happens in terms of who else might get punished down the line. I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is this the first time we've really seen penalties and probation? I know that there was a whole investigation on Clemson and Pete Golding and Ole Miss, but was there ever punishments against Ole Miss and Pete Golding for the tampering they apparently did against Clemson?
Good question.
Because Dabo went on that press conference and just lit him a new one. By the way, too, other breaking news, we have a new CFP logo.
Whoop-de-doo.
I know. It's just there's more highlighting to make it look gold, and then instead of the college football playoff, it's just CFP. We can get a new logo, but we won't agree on a new format or anything like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I do think that this is the first time that we might have had legitimate punishments for tampering. I could be stand to be corrected. It's not as if I have a full history of this thing in front of me, but this is very interesting. And I don't know, man, if I'm some teams, there definitely are a lot more teams who have done this, who have tampered, who have been in contact with players that were still assigned, they were still on rosters of NCAA tournament teams, and those players were not in the transfer portal yet. And there definitely have been teams who have contacted those players trying to render their services. If I'm somebody who I know I've done tampering, I'm a little nervous reading this article, considering the fact that the NCAA has finally punished somebody for doing something that seemed like we were trending it toward being the norm. And now, I mean, it also seems like, too, doesn't it seem pretty tame what Iowa did, especially considering if this is McNamara? I don't even think he was.
Oh, incredibly.
Like he wasn't even playing at the time. So it's like, what, they sent 13 text messages and they had 13 phone calls and sent a couple of text messages. I don't know if that's like I don't know. Yeah. Hey, what do you want to do? This and that. Blah blah blah. Oh, you're not playing. Okay. Here's the deal. Here's what we can give you. This is the promises we'll make. I mean, it seems like there's got to be some. I don't know more. It just doesn't. It just seems like there definitely are teams who have gone above that, right? Than a couple of phone calls to get a quarterback who, if it is McNamara, was not playing at the time.
As the great actor Denzel Washington said, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
You think my men are going to come against me? Smiley? It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. I guess they could prove it.
You've seen that one?
No, I've seen the clip.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a famous TikTok clip.
That's a good one.
I know, the thing is I've been rewatching some movies to get the quotes back in my head, So because there was a point where I could quote a bunch of movies and now I rewatch movies and be like, oh, I should quote that, So apparently
2 hours and 2 minutes. Is that too long?
I don't even know what movie it is.
Training Day.
Oh, my roommate wants me to watch that movie. He's all into that one. He's like, you got to see Training Day. I think we have a Training Day poster in my apartment.
You have a poster for this in your apartment?
I think it's in his room in our apartment.
Yeah.
We have a Big Lebowski poster.
Okay.
And a Back to the Future poster. And I forget the other poster we have up.
Have you seen all of these movies? These movies you have posters for?
Big Lebowski, no.
Okay.
Back to the Future, obviously. I've seen.
Oh, I don't know what's obvious with you anymore.
And The Dark Knight. We have the Dark Knight poster up. That was the one I picked.
Going to assume you've seen that.
The Dark Knight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like The Dark Knight. I'm a Batman guy.
Yeah,
I had a Batman graduation party. People forget. People do forget. We all wore masks,
Everyone very willingly put on a Batman
Yeah, they
mask.
loved it. The chicks digged it, actually. I'm not kidding you. The chicks loved having the Batman mask on during the Batman graduation party. I'm saying all you people out there who have graduation parties who do the boring ass graduation parties where it's the same, balloons and the same flyers and the same cake and you all buy the same plates and the same napkins and it all says congrats grad 2020 whatever, I was different. We did a Batman. My mom made the biggest mistake of all time and let me go to Party City unsupervised.
Well, she felt bad. You didn't have a prom.
Yes, I did have a graduation. I didn't care about not having a prom.
I just want to drive to Skokie and just start asking people questions.
About what?
About you.
I don't think I'm like a well-known commodity amongst Skokie. I think you would probably have to go to Notre Dame College Prep and Sauganash and start asking questions.
Okay. Hey, this Matt McMaster guy? Were you at this party? Can I ask you some questions?
I can give you the number to the people who were at the party.
Hello.
That might be some nice Matt's friends for Wacky Guess Wednesday. Hokey Skur goes, so did anyone else see Iowa just got busted for tampering? Well, you wouldn't believe it, Hokey Skur.
That's how the segment started. Hit rewind.
Sindelar goes, I think they're talking about it in the next segment. They got busted. I honestly think so. Like, bringing this all back, no longer making all these jokes, but like, this kind of is a serious situation in the fact, like, the NCAA has kind of flexed their muscles here and being like, hey,
what have they flexed?
Well, they've basically vacated wins from the 2023 season. They fined them. They put them on. But I think, whoa, Josh, flexing their muscles in the regard that I think a lot of people across the industry, across coaching, thought that tampering wasn't going to get punished. And all of these teams,
from that perspective.
Yeah, and all of these teams have been tampering, thinking like, well, if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. And if they're not going to get punished, then I'm not going to get punished. And so all of these other teams have been tampering and cheating and violating these NCAA rules. And now the NCAA has finally been like, no, we're gonna punish you for it. And considering the fact that this is if it's about Cade McNamara, they contacted a backup QB, called him a couple of times, said, all right, this is what the terms are going to be. When you enter the transfer portal, you come here. I mean, that just, like there's got to be. I mean, we had Dabo Sweeney saying that Pete Golding was sending $1 million check to his players via pictures. That seems way worse.
That does seem worse.
than Iowa potentially going after the backup quarterback of Michigan. So
no ruling on that yet, by the way. We were looking it up earlier.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so this is, you're right. You're right. You are correct that any team would take this punishment, right?
4 wins for Cade McNamara.
Yeah. Like any team would be like, all right, whatever. Like, all right, put us on probation, cut down our recruiting days. You know what? We can still make calls, right? We can still figure things out, right? Teams have gone through worse before. But I do think this is the NCAA kind of communicating, hey, this is punishable.
We'll do it.
We'll do it. So don't mess around. So just something there to kind of pinpoint. Let's also pinpoint too that there's been some big news in recruiting today. Ahmad Hudson down to 2 teams would be a massive, massive pickup for Nebraska football.
Number 1 tight end in the country.
I saw him play at the Battle at the Boneyard. Trey Taylor throwing to Ahmad Hudson.
Whoa.
Dude, he's a dude. He's just a dude. He's just such, I can't explain. He's just an athlete. He's just a super athlete. Soft hands, high points the ball perfectly, fast, physical, smart. There were multiple times where Trey was kind of scrambling and it was just, all right, Ahmad, get open, right? Route running, especially on the deep routes, were very impressive. Guys, he's going to be playing on Sundays. He will be playing on Sunday. And Trey Taylor and Nebraska football have put a ton of effort. And honestly, you can spin zone this into like, yeah, LSU might end up getting him, but the fact that Nebraska is as in on this as they are, and they are as close to getting him as they are coming, it's kind of impressive. Also, too, what do we always say? You don't burn these bridges. What if it doesn't work out for him at LSU? You still kind of had that open line of communication possibly for him to come back from transfer portal. So the fact they've gotten to this point, now that's something you say after he commits to LSU.
Hey, no hard feelings. If you walk in that door and you think it's a bleep show, which, oh my gosh, I'd be so surprised if it was, maybe you pick up the phone and call me. You can always call me.
You call me. And we do tampering right around here in Nebraska. We don't get caught like those bums in Iowa.
That's right.
What a bunch of loser the Hawkeyes are. Can you imagine getting caught for tampering? Oh my God. How bad do you have to be at tampering to get caught? Seriously. Everybody else is doing it scot-free. You got caught for tampering on Cade McNamara? That's brutal. That's brutal. That's brutal. Do you know who's not brutal? Tim Verghese is coming up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
You know, one of the really great honors of my life has been working with Josh Hobbs.
Thank you.
And you're a great producer, but there are moments where I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? The lead in line to Tim Verghese today on the phone was, are you a shark movie aficionado? Which then was followed up by about a 45-second conversation between you two. We bring in Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska on 3 and Rivals. Yeah, let's just get to this. What the hell are you two talking about here?
I watched a shark movie last night, and Tim gave me a shark movie recommendation, and I didn't know if he was a shark movie guy.
You're a shark movie guy, Tim Verghese?
I am not. As I explained, it just happened to be on, and I tuned in because I just wanted to see what we were working with. It was sharks in Paris, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to tune in for this. It was not a good movie.
Okay,
it was
all right.
Really not a good movie. It had some some satisfying kills, some of that, like you're into gore, splash or whatever. Like it had some of that, but it's just slop, and it very much felt like the movie Josh watched last night, which is also on Netflix. It's just the exact same movie, but with a pregnant woman.
Oh, okay.
And not in Paris.
Okay. In where in Jamaica? Where are they at?
Oh,
you don't know the setting of the movie?
Where were they?
They were. I mean, it feels like the setting of the movie has to be pretty important for a shark movie. Let's just pivot off of that.
You'd be surprised.
Let's just pivot from that question to this question. Are shark movies the lowest hit rate in terms of good genres of movies? When we do a shark genre movie, is that the lowest genre hit rate? Shark movies?
You have to think so, right? I mean, there's
it's
only
up
one
there.
good shark movie.
Ooh. Okay, so Jaws.
Yeah.
Did you like the Meg? Did you see the Meg?
I've seen Meg and Meg 2.
And you weren't
not good movie.
You weren't satisfied? Point Break isn't
No,
a shark movie. That's just a surfing movie, right?
Correct.
What's the one where the chick gets her arm bitten off? You know what I'm talking about? True.
That's not a shark movie. That's like a documentary.
But the shark bites her arm off.
The shark's in the movie, but it's not a shark movie.
I feel like if it's a movie about a woman that doesn't have her arm anymore because a shark bit it off, the shark is an integral part of the movie.
I don't know if that means it's a shark movie, though. I think it's a movie about her.
Is it true? What is it? True Surfer? True Surfer?
Soul Surfer.
Soul Surfer.
Oh,
Soul
yeah,
Surfer.
yeah. Okay.
What you guys go consider? I consider Soul Surfer a shark movie. The shark is the big part of the movie. He's the one who caused this whole thing.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. The shark. I don't know if the shark keeps popping up in the story.
I don't think it does. I think it's a one and I think it's a one and done shark. I think it's a DeMarcus Cousins shark. I think it's there and then it's gone. A one-hit wonder, yes, like The Looking Glass, who made Brandy. Is there any other good shark movies, Josh Hodson? Your brain is just currently twirling right now, trying to think of another good shark movie.
Good shark movies.
Has Tim Verghese stumped us with there's only one good shark movie?
There is
ever?
only one good shark movie because every shark movie inevitably gets compared to Jaws.
Sharknado? Nobody likes the shark. Or those are just kind of
every other shark movie to avoid comparisons to Jaws ends up having to be a bad movie on purpose that they're just having fun with, so that they can say, well, we're not trying to replicate Jaws because you could never replicate Jaws. We're out there. We're just trying to have fun.
Yeah, we're not trying to replicate the Connor Happer show. You can never replicate the Connor Happer show. We're just trying to have fun. We're just trying to have fun. That's a great spin zone, Josh Hodson. Nothing to spin though when it comes to recruiting. Timmy, you are the man. I want to give it credit to you. You have gotten me back into recruiting. I was a little bit out, but your coverage and your passion and your knowledge, not only just about what's going on, but also just analyzing these players and evaluating these players has definitely rekindled a fire that I have for it. So kudos to you. Let's talk about the big boy. Let's talk about the tight end. Let's talk about the guy who I saw with you at the Battle at the Boneyard, catching passes from Trey Taylor. I'll admit I haven't watched Ahmad Hudson tape since then. I've only really read your description of him. But what I saw was a guy who's elite at the top of the catch, a guy who is smart on the field, especially when Trey was rolling to his right, the way for his ability to get open, and also is just elite size and elite athleticism and great body control. And he's the type of dude where you go, things happen, but man, if he isn't playing at a high level in college football. And if he isn't a guy that one day ends up in the NFL, you're kind of like, what are we doing here, right? What went wrong would be the answer to that question. Down to 2 teams, LSU and Nebraska. What are the Huskers' shot, Tim?
Yeah, this one, I had an update last week over at Inside Nebraska on where things kind of stand, what I was hearing on Nebraska's end and from sources close to Hudson's on that end as well. And, I noted in that update, look, I think Nebraska's best shot here is going to be securing this early commitment. I don't think if the commitment, there's early commitment goes LSU's way, I don't think Nebraska has a great shot at flipping him away. That said, if they land him, obviously it's not going to be easy to defend against LSU, who will be in this recruitment till the very end. But there's a path. I think the staff can see a path to Hudson signing with Nebraska if they're able to secure this early commitment. And the update we got today from On3 Sam Spiegelman is this timeline is sped up even more so. He's canceled all of his official visits except for the ones to LSU and Nebraska. And it looks like he might be committing before those official visits, looking to make a decision here at the end of spring. And look, from what I've been able to gather, LSU is setting the market from an NIL standpoint, but Nebraska's not far off behind, if not matching at this point. They are very much fully within this. And if this comes down to from a financial sense, I don't think there's too much separating these two programs right now. Now, on the other end of this, like we talked about, I think we mentioned this last week on this very show, we talked about how, the basketball side of things with LSU hadn't really heated up just yet, even with Will Wade getting to town. And then I noted that in my story on Thursday, and a couple hours later, Will Wade finally reoffered. So the LSU basketball program is starting to push here, in addition to the pitch from the football staff. But that said, his best relationship through this entire recruitment at this point has been with the Nebraska staff. And it still is, I think, at this point. He's most in touch with Nebraska. And it's not, again, it's Keith Williams, it's Matt Rule, it's wide receivers coach Dikeel Shorts, there's a couple other recruiting assistants, in addition to Trey Taylor and Tay Ellis and Amir Brown and some of Nebraska's top commits. And then on the basketball side of things, you have Ernie Ziegler and Fred Hoiberg leading the way. And I think Nebraska's been the most consistent basketball program in the mix of this too. Right now, Nebraska has the best overall, I think, plan for him. They've laid that out to him as well in terms of developing him as a two-sport athlete across multiple seasons. But it's a plan in paper versus, LSU, who, they don't necessarily have this strength of relationship. They don't have this. They don't have certain things Nebraska does. But LSU does have Trey'Dez Green currently on campus, another two-sport athlete, big frame tight end from within the state, who Hudson is close with, who is playing a featured role in that offense. And they can just simply point to Trey'Dez Green and say, hey, you can just do that. So that said, Trey'Dez Green is not the basketball prospect Hudson is. So is that a pitch that's appealing to him compared to Nebraska's overall plan that they have for him? That's something we're going to have to wait and see. But I'll say this much. I think some people have written Nebraska off in this recruitment, that this is LSU's to lose at this point. It is much closer than I think a lot of people realize. And and listen, right now, there's a lot on both sides of things that feel like the scales are tipped in Nebraska's favor at this point. It's just a matter of the question now is, can they get him back on campus before he makes this decision? He hasn't been back to Nebraska yet in 2026. I think with the announcement this morning that he's accelerating this timeline, it's got a couple people nervous, I think. Just the fact that he hasn't been to Nebraska just yet. He's wanted to. He's been trying to get up to campus. I wouldn't be surprised if he does make it back to campus at least once before this decision. But there's a good chance this decision gets made before he makes official visits. And I think once the decision is made, I wouldn't be surprised if the team that misses out on him doesn't get an official visit.
This is a silly question, but I just have to ask it. Is there a possibility where they get one more visit from him before the official commitment window and they go, all right, this is it, take it or leave it, right? Would they go as that far to get him in the building and be like, get him now, we got to commit him now? Or is this going to be more of a drawn out process? I know it's a silly question. I'm just curious.
Nebraska's never been a program. I mean, you've seen other programs do this. Nebraska really has never been that type of program to push a guy to commit or do anything like that. They don't like to pressure recruits into anything like that. They want them to make a calculated decision and make sure that they're committing to Nebraska, committing elsewhere, they're committing for the right reasons, and they're committing because they've thought this thing through.
Let's go ahead and by the way, you're totally right. I mean, everything we know about this program, it's always been about the relationships, right? And what has Matt Rule always communicated? Like, we don't want you to be here just for the paycheck. We wanted you to be here because you believe this is the best place for you. So definitely spot on in that regard. Let's talk about news that just broke here, because it is kind of in your realm, right? In terms of recruiting, whether it be, now this was a transfer portal specific issue, but definitely is something that happens in the high school ranks sometimes, especially with guys who are already committed. But I mean, I guess more specifically, tampering and transfer portal is what this is about. Iowa got punished today. I believe this is the first time, maybe you can correct me where I'm wrong, Tim. This is the first time, at least I can remember, the NCAA officially saying, hey, we investigated this, tampering happened. We're going to vacate wins. We're going to put you on probation. We're going to take away recruiting days. What is the impact here? And are there now kind of heads turning in college football now that the NCAA came down and hit Iowa with a punishment for tampering? How big of a deal is this, in your opinion?
Yeah, very much felt like this came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Surprised that when it popped up. I mean, I know people even on Iowa's end were a little caught off guard by it. So it's interesting. I mean, there's a reason I think some of these schools. The thing is just like, what's interesting to me is the can of worms this potentially opens, because you look at what happened and again, what the NCAA investigated and all of that. This goes on in pretty much every program. This isn't anything Iowa did exceptionally wrong or anything. And at the end of the day, they vacated 4 wins, I believe. Like that's really it from a 2023 season. That, I mean, I looked like it was for Iowa wasn't. I mean, that year felt like a disappointment for them. I think they expected more out of Cade McNamara, who ended up being hurt. So I don't know what this means moving forward, just because it did take so, like, this is a year, I mean, they're punishing an Iowa team now for something that happened years ago.
Yeah, great point.
And if the NCAA really wants to do this, like, they've got plenty of places to start. And I would say this, though, I do think the degree to which they've punished Iowa, the violations, like the vacated wins fine, and then the recruiting restrictions, I think that is enough to maybe dissuade some teams from doing this and staying on the straight and narrow relatively moving forward. But ultimately, everyone's looking for an edge here. And, until they believe the NCAA has real teeth to enforce this across the entire sport, not just on a case-by-case basis, this is still going to happen across the country.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I mean, it's like we've had the Pete Dabo Sweeney stuff, right? I mean, that kind of exploded a couple of months ago. And then, Matt Rule, and by the way, I loved it when he said it, because he's totally right. Literally goes, to Kyle Crookston, Husker Radio Network, was like, tampering that word is kind of whatever, because that's what everybody is doing. That's just what the world we live in, right? It's not tampering if it's not necessarily sanctioned or punished. And now it gets punished. And already Kirk Ferentz has already served a 1-year suspension, or 1-game suspension rather, in 2024. So it's not as if, Tim, to add on to your point, it's not as if the NCAA is flexing their muscle in terms of look at how hard our punishment is, but they are kind of flexing in a way of like, hey, this is something we can do. This is something that we can impose penalty on you if you can do it. It will be curious as to whether or not teams take this seriously. It seems like there have been other rules, especially the rev share rule, right, where that hasn't necessarily been taken seriously. Do you have an update on that, by the way? Do you have any information on that about the arbitration case that's going on that's going to determine a lot of things?
I don't have a firm update on that. I've been asking around. I don't really have a firm update on that.
I mean, Tim, that is going to determine a lot of potential turmoil in college football, is it not, that case?
Yeah, you would think so, but yeah, and I mean, it's such a complicated one too, because it's like right now, like my whole thing is just like, again, like I don't know what necessarily they can enforce as technically a third party, like that is what they are. And I again, I don't know how much it's related, whatever, but like you also have the private equity's gotten into this. They bought out Learfield
today. Yeah, that was announced today. Great point, Tim.
That has implications. That has implications on NIL, on media rights, on all of these things. There's a lot of interesting dominoes kind of weirdly falling at this time that we don't really have conclusive answers to, or what this will look like. But very much feels like, I don't want to say tides are turning, but like, yeah, this space is changing. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing just yet. I think it's one thing where everyone just needs to be prepared to adjust again, because, you know, this thing has been never changing in terms of how they enforce things, what the legislation is, and it's going to keep changing.
Well, so let's go to what you're referring to. So Learfield, and correct me where I'm wrong here, but Learfield is basically, they've expanded their business to the NIL space, right? And they are, you know, they have sport broadcasting brand deals with schools that include Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, just to name a few, right? Where they go ahead and they give money to these schools' athletic departments for these branding deals, and then that money basically works as kind of like an NIL partnership. It's not too different from Playfly Sports, which Nebraska is partnered with. They're going to get bought by a private equity firm for $1.2 to $2 billion. So that's kind of that's a summarization of that. The implications, I mean, whatever you know, but what are the potential implications of that? A private equity now buying this firm that has these connections through NIL with these big schools.
So the one thing we know is private equity has been trying to get their hands in college football in some sort of way. There's been different avenues. They've tried different things. You know, whether it's been, you know, investing in or trying to work in different NIL spaces. This is their way of fully getting in. I mean, you can't get that. Like, Learfield is so tied into college athletics as a whole, as this major college athletics, that they're in here now. They're in here now, and yeah, like, it's multimedia rights, but it's also merchandise. It's ticketing. It's you know, they run Sidearm Sports, which is, you know, a lot of the interfaces for these athletic websites and mobile apps, which you find, and then again, like tickets and some of that as well. Yeah, I mean, it's going to have implications. We'll see what this means. I know there hasn't been on Learfield's end, though. Like, there's been some frustrations with how they've run certain things. So again, it's one of those things where things are going to change. We don't know if it's for better or worse just yet.
Real quick, there was an interesting article I read yesterday about Georgia football, and the fact that, you know, they're being outspent by half the teams in the SEC, and it seems like Kirby definitely is kind of adjusting to the, you know, if you just want a paycheck here, you're not going to play it. You know, this isn't the place for you. And they're using some more old school recruiting tactics that involve the NFL players that they've sent, and along with the championships that they've won. You know, I'm sure you're aware of the trend. The best recruiting class in 2024, the second best recruiting class in 2025, and then in 2026, they were the fifth best, and now they're trending 2 5-stars in 2027, but still the 8th best class. Is there any concern in Georgia in terms of being able to keep up this pipeline and being able to keep up with the spending that's happening in college football?
I don't think so. I still think they're producing enough. They're going to have another, you know, pretty successful draft, I would say, for their program, where I think they're producing enough where they can afford to do that. And again, like, the thing with Kirby, and it's always been who he is, and just that staff in general, they do a good job of getting, like, they do a lot right in terms of, okay, hey, like, they're not going to be the highest bidder more often than not, but they do a really good job for a program like that of identifying some of this talent early, getting in on them early, and really selling them on, like, whether for in-state guys, it's staying home. For others, it's hey, coming and competing with the best. And it resonates. It's a pitch that resonates, and it's something that, you know, for them now, I think what they're moving towards is being a little more cautious in terms of, like, making sure they get guys in the building who want to be there and things like that. And ultimately, I think if you're building a team, that's how you should be looking at it. So,
sure.
The recruiting rankings for them may slip a little bit, but I don't think they're ever dipping out of, you know, top 10 contention. Like, they're always going to be in contention for a top 10, top 5 class every cycle, just off the strength of, as long as the on-field performance continues, which I think it will. They're well positioned for to stick around in that territory. Yeah, but I mean, no doubt, I think there is some frustration just about the fact that how many of these recruitments at the big time level ultimately do sometimes turn into bidding wars. I mean, we're seeing it right now. We talked about David Fuller show a couple weeks ago. A guy in Nebraska got on campus for the first time. Guess where that recruitment stands now? It's Texas Tech. It's Miami.
Yeah.
It's those two programs really battling it out now. And after he's made visits out to both of those programs, Notre Dame's still somewhat in the mix. Michigan somewhat in the mix. But I think this is going to come down to Miami and Texas Tech. And it's, look, because those two programs right now kind of have the money to throw around and say, look, if we want a guy, you can't really match us. We're going to get our guy. And we just saw it again with Texas Tech. They pulled a 5-star edge in Anthony Sweeney, who had never visited until like earlier this month. And all of a sudden, a recruitment that was largely East Coast dominated. And a kid from, like, I believe Virginia is now headed to Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah. That's some of these guys, it's about relationship, and some of these guys definitely all about the paycheck, and you just gotta kind of balance the two. Tim Verghese, you're the man. Thank you so much for joining us today on Middays, Matt.
Of course, appreciate you guys.
See you, Timmy V. Always the best shark movie aficionado, Tim Verghese. Who would have thought? Coming up next, we'll give some local updates about what's happening in college basketball. We have some visits to report. We have some entering the transfer portals. We have some returners. We have a lot to touch on. And later, Conspiracy Matt and Conspiracy Josh give us we're going to give you what we think the NBA draft lottery should be here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Alrighty, some portal updates for you. Portal combat, if you will. Portal combat! Nebraska is hosting Illinois State freshman guard Tyree Coleman today, all the way to tomorrow. We talked about it with Robin Washit on the show. They also are setting up a visit from Bowden Kapke, who's coming on an official visit from Boston College. Kapke, that's
Bowden?
that's what I'm going with. Boden, Bowden.
Okay.
Kapke, Kapke. Kapke. Maybe Kapke. I don't know. But we're going with Bowden Kapke. 6'11", 255 pounds. From Victoria, Minnesota. Nope. Bowden Kapke.
Bowden.
17 of 31 appearances for Boston College last season, averaging 27 points or 27 minutes per game, 10.6 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 33% from three-point range. He had a high 25 points against Virginia Tech last season. He is set to visit Nebraska, according to Robin Washit, and on three, while Illinois State's Tyree Coleman, formerly of Illinois State, go Redbirds, on a visit now at Nebraska. We have some updates from our friend John Walker, who will be on the show tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Whiskey.
Walk updates us that another Blue Jay has hit the transfer portal.
Another one.
Alexa Dimitrievich, center, the freshman, is going into the portal. He's informed. John Walker has always also updated us on some visits that are happening / already occurred for the Blue Jays in the transfer portal. Caden Edwards from TCU, a guard, a 6'2" guard who averaged 3.2 points and 6.4 minutes per game across 14 games, visited Creighton over the weekend. He is the former AAU teammate of Hudson Greer, who announced that he is returning to the Blue Jays a couple of days ago. Also, who visited campus on Friday, he's not a transfer, but a JUCO product, is Wesley Rosa, 7'2", 8 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 3.7 blocks in JUCO last season. He was his conference's defensive player of the year. He visited over the weekend and currently visiting. So he's visiting today after he had a Zoom call on Thursday with the Blue Jays staff, according to John Walker. Kobe Garland, the San Jose State guard, 6 foot point guard from San Jose State. He averaged 20.3 points per game last season with 3.3 rebounds and 4.6 assists. He was second in the Mountain West Conference in scoring last season. So there's your transfer portal update. Still waiting on a potential commitment from Drew Fielder is the Nebraska Cornhuskers, but they are bringing in some more players to visit. So it's been a kind of a slow, steady grind for both of these teams. Both these teams have only gotten one commitment so far in the transfer portal. Sam Orm from Liberty for Nebraska and Aswin Aramumse for Creighton from Providence.
Good gets.
We are very good gets, very, fills roles for both needs, fills needs for both teams. But still, we're seeing other teams kind of start adding a lot, right? Louisville's done a lot. Villanova's done some work. Xavier's done some work. Iowa State's done a lot of work. Iowa has gotten some commits, right? So Nebraska definitely having some high quality and Creighton having some high quality commits, but the numbers just aren't there yet. Rothstein's top 45 teams today came out. John Rothstein's released his top 45 teams. Nebraska, number 21 so far in Rothstein's top 45, but still some starters to be added for the Big Red. Coming up next, let's go ahead and talk about the NBA draft lottery and how Conspiracy Matt and Conspiracy Josh thinks the NBA should rig the lottery. Coming up next here on Middays Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We're going to talk a little about the NBA draft. That was on the thing we do here. Also, though, we'd be remiss not to mention the WNBA draft that happened yesterday. We'd be remiss. AZ Fudd got drafted from UConn to the Dallas Wings. Going to play with Paige Beckers. The Chicago Sky drafted this woman who played for UCLA, Gabriela Jaquez. And I was like, wow, she looks familiar. She does all this Instagram, TikTok dancing stuff.
Oh, you knew her and you didn't know you knew her.
And she's become famous from doing that. Well, it's not surprising in the slightest because the Chicago Sky are addicted with drafting people who everyone knows before outside of like basketball. They love drafting the TikTok stars, or they love drafting like the players that are famous on the internet. Haley Van Lith, was one of them. Angel Reese is a good player, so they didn't just draft Angel Reese because she was famous on the internet, but they, you know what I'm saying? Like they always just seem to draft these players that like they reached on this athlete. And I think they just clearly drafted her because she'd be popular and good for ticket sales. Like it's just the most classic Chicago thing. She was projected to go 12th and they drafted her 5th. Quite the head scratching move. They were labeled as one of the losers of the WNBA draft from an article I was reading. So, and Flavie got traded.
Traded to Seattle, right?
I know. Apparently the trade though was made before the draft, but still. I mean, you can pull the plug and be like, "No, we can't do that. We have a superstar, our potential superstar on the board." So the Valkyries made a baffling move yesterday. A couple of things here before we get into the main point of the segment. Don't forget to text us at the Equitable Bank Zone inbox, or sorry, text us at the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, or you can call us at the Prairie Flowers Casino Zone hotline, 402-951-1620. You can email us on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox, Equitable Bank. They take banking personally. And we're going to go to the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Shout out Pesky Blues. We have a couple of tweets here. First off, Ryan tweets, at Connor Happer, at Mike Schaefer, is at Mavic Media, where the society has longed the technology to fix holes in clothes. I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to stitch things together. Right? How's that my fault? And also, too, if you know somebody who can sew or can stitch things together, right? Don't you feel kind of bad when you just throw those clothes at people? Like, hey, here's a skill that you know. Here, fix this for me. I'm not going to pay you anything for it. Like, I don't know. I just kind of feel just feel bad throwing clothes at my grandmother. Be like, hey, stitch this. Fix this for me. I've made mistakes, and now you must fix them. I don't feel great about that.
Yeah, okay.
It's not chicken soup for the soul.
I respect that.
Just throwing clothes in the face of your grandmother saying, fix my mistakes. Second tweet that we have here on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed, David McGee, he was tweeting about our conversation about Pryce Sandfort, right? We posed the question, look, every single Husker who's gotten their number retired has played 3 or more years for the Nebraska Cornhuskers and has, some of these counting. Now, Pryce has some single season records, in particular, the 3-pointers made in a season record, but more of these guys have the counting records that happen over a career. They have the career records, right? Pryce wouldn't have that. But if you were to do the same things he did this year, next year, he would have undoubtedly the most impressive 2-year stint that we've seen in Nebraska basketball history, and would be probably the second greatest transfer portal acquisition in the NIL era. It's like 2018, 2019 to now. He'd probably be the second best transfer portal acquisition Nebraska's had. David tweets in.
Hi, David.
Might be sleeping on how many counting stats, especially 3-point ones, Pryce is in reach of. If he takes the year 2 jump under Fred, all of Make's attempts and percentages are on the table. Season and career, #Nebrasketball. I don't know if he just, I think it's just very clear if he once again makes an all Big Ten first team, they go to the NCAA tournament and win one or multiple NCAA tournament games, I just don't see how you could say, man, this 2-year career is the best that we've seen here at the school. And Josh, you brought up a great point. You got to retire one of these guys' numbers who was the first team, right? One of these guys' numbers has to get retired. One of these guys have to go up in the rafters. This is something that has to happen. I mean, it would just
audience will clamor for it.
It would behoove us if it did not occur. Now, Mike Schaefer texted into the show.
Hi, Mike.
Not on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. He has my own personal number.
Whoa, you giving that out?
Alex Sindelar and some listeners have it. There are some listeners that have my personal number.
Okay.
I'm a man of the people. If you have good takes and you like to talk with me, I'll give you my number.
Whoa, okay.
John does not have my number.
John Bishop?
No. Yeah, Bishop does have my number.
Okay.
Took a while for us to get there. Multiple months of working at the zone without having John Bishop's number. Schaefer texted and said, how about Frager? Could Frager be the guy that gets his number retired from this team? Which would be crazy to think about considering the dialogue we had about Braden Frager. Not 12 months ago. We were talking about Frager as like, is he really going to like contribute to this team? Is he going to contribute to the roster? Is he mature enough to be a long-standing member of Nebraska basketball to the point where now we have people being like, could he be the guy who gets his number retired? Look, I don't want to. I'm only willing to hypothetical 1 year in advance. I'm not willing to hypothetical 2 years in advance. That's a little bit too much. That's too many hypotheticals.
That's a bridge too far.
That is a bridge too far. That's 2 whole seasons. That's a lot. That's a lot of hypotheticals. I'm not going to hypothetical 60 games. And honestly too, I don't really count the Sandfort hypothetical as a true hypothetical because he's already done this, right? Like what I'm saying is that if he just does the things he did last season, this season, he's already proven that he could play at that level, right? You know, it might be a little bit more surprising if he's not slightly better next season than he was last season. Because it's not as if he went out to a hot start, played all these, mid teams, racked up these points, racked up these stats, was insane. And then as the competition got better, he fell off a little bit. It was actually the opposite. As the season went on and Nebraska played better and better teams and got into higher and higher stakes games, he played phenomenally. And in particular, had one of the best tournaments we saw from players in the country. I mean, when we got to the Elite Eight, there were players, when we got to the Final Four, there were players who had played more games than him, and yet he was still leading the tournament in 3-point makes. I mean, he was having a phenomenal run. So I don't even think of it as much of a hypothetical as it is because, he's just got to repeat what he did. And we know that he could do that. Now, the Frager conversation is interesting because Mike is correct in asking the question, could Frager be the guy? Because he kind of accomplishes that already prerequisite that has been set by the precedent of the players that have their numbers retired. He would be the guy that would be able to play 3-4 seasons in a Nebraska Cornhusker uniform. He would be the guy who could rack up all of the awards that you're like, whoa, he could be the guy that could get those career counting stats that could set him apart in terms of having that number in the rafters one day. There is a bit of a hesitation for me, though, when it comes to Frager is if he goes ahead and has an insane season next year and takes this massive jump and already adds to his Big Ten Six-Man Player of the Year resume, he could be going in the NBA draft. He'd only be 20 years old. He'd have 2 years of high-level Big Ten basketball under his belt. So that's my one hesitation a little bit about Frager. I'm afraid that if Frager plays at the performance when you start talking about him having his number retired or being a legend in Nebraska basketball, he might be like, hey, see ya. I'm going to go to the NBA, which, obviously would be an accomplishment of itself. Now, I think that this is some people, especially Blue Jay fans, might be rolling their eyes at me talking about retiring numbers already after one Sweet 16 performance. But I do think it does put into perspective, what this team accomplished relative to what Nebraska had done in the past. So still though, big news for Nebraska basketball, Frager, Jacobson, and Sandfort all back into the fold. All right. So we have the NBA play-in, one of the dumbest creations of all time, beginning tonight. I'm never going to subscribe to this, by the way. I'm never going to be.
No.
I'm never going to be okay with it. I will never, even when the Bulls played in it, I was like, this is dumb. We shouldn't be in the playoffs.
It gives
What's the value? What's the value?
Stakes to something that
what stakes?
Need stakes.
Wouldn't you rather lose and have a lottery pick?
Yeah, I think I would.
What would you rather be? The 8th seed in the NBA or have the 13th best odds at getting the number 1 overall pick? What would you rather have? No, it's not a discussion.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have the lottery pick.
What are the chances you win the NBA title from being the 8th seed in the West?
Well,
what are the chances?
Never happened before.
There you go. Travis, I love Travis. Travis is one of our best comics.
I also love Travis.
Travis is an assassin. We don't see him a lot, but
Kill a Trav. That's what they call him.
Seriously. He goes, this country loves more playoffs. I hate it. Stop it. Stop letting more teams into playoffs. Okay? You're scraping the bottom of the barrel. You're watering down the product.
We love doing that in America, don't we?
It's embarrassing. 12 teams of 14 teams, 14 to 16 teams, 4 teams of 12 teams, 12 teams of 24. Stop it. Stop 68 to 76. I don't like it. You're not adding potential champions. You're just adding games and less meaning to the regular season. The regular season means less because now more teams can get in. That's how this works. The MLB regular season was pure when it was 4 teams who got in the playoffs from the American League and the National League. It was beautiful. It got even better when we said, all right, 1-game wild card. That was phenomenal. And now we have 6 teams in the MLB, 7 teams in the NFL, and 10 teams in the NBA, 12 teams in the college football playoff. About to be 76 teams in the NCAA basketball. It's ridiculous. Anyway, playing tonight, I don't give a damn. What I do give a damn about is the NBA draft lottery. The NBA draft lottery used to be one of my favorite nights of the year.
I find that it is an oddly captivating television product. Those ping pong balls in the fake, real. I don't give a bleep.
I think it's better that it's fake. I think it's better that it's rigged. That is the one thing that we could say, yeah, the league decides who gets what. And do you know who cares? Nobody. Because it makes
nobody watching at home.
No. Now
do the Wizards think that they should just be handed the number 1 draft pick?
Josh,
yes, absolutely.
Josh, do you think there's a reason they don't do the ping pong balls in front of the public anymore? Now they do it in front of reporters, and the reporters are like, oh, we swear it's not rigged. You guys are a bunch of sheep. You are. They are a bunch of sheep.
Wake up, sheeple.
Seriously. Sheep Sharania.
Sheep Sharania.
Bunch of sheep. Being like, oh, I saw the ping pong balls myself. It's not rigged. You're an idiot. You are an idiot.
If there was an animated movie, like GOAT was a recent animated movie about basketball, they should have had Sheep Sharania reporting on the league in that movie.
Yeah, Sheep Sharania. There's a bunch of sheep reporting on the NBA. Anyway, all right. Here is how the NBA draft lottery should go.
All right. Did you do the whole lottery?
I did the whole lottery.
Okay, I have the top 5 picks.
No, I did all 14 picks.
Because there's a big slog of Charlotte, Miami, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Memphis.
I'll give you my 10. I'll give you my 10.
Matter.
10 through 14. Atlanta, Milwaukee, OKC, Miami, Charlotte. Okay? Long shot teams that did not get it. Okay? Now, and I'll give you 9. I'll give you Memphis, because Memphis was around that area too. So now in my top 8, potential top 8.
Okay.
Chicago, Washington, Brooklyn, Utah, Sacramento, Indianapolis. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay. We disagree on some things here.
Here's my number 1 overall pick.
Number 1
goes to the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
I think that this is a slam dunk for the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton coming back from injury.
I have them at number 2.
This was a team that just made the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. What happens if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't get injured? They got off to a great start in that game. They had a legitimate shot at winning that title. Are they as good as what they were 2 years ago? Maybe not. Would adding AJ Dybanska immediately make basketball uberly interesting in Indiana to the point where it already is interesting in Indiana? They love basketball there. And we got to start thinking business-wise, Josh Hodgson.
Business, yeah.
Indiana Hoosier basketball, and the fact that it hasn't been as good as people want it to be, leaves a hole a little bit for the wanting of good men's quality basketball. The Indiana Pacers can take the hearts of the people who rooted for the Hoosiers and be like, well, the Hoosiers aren't doing what you want. We're doing what you want. We're providing great, high-quality men's basketball here.
They got the women's basketball.
They got the
covered.
women's basketball figured out. We got the high-quality men's basketball here. Indiana gets the number 1 overall pick, AJ Dybanska.
Okay.
Number 2 overall selection. Easy. Slam dunk. Golden State Warriors.
I have them at 3.
You got to give Curry one last run.
That's what I said on my notes.
You got to give him one last shot. Give him one last opportunity.
A hot young rookie for the Steph Curry farewell tour. That's what I wrote.
Yes. Get people excited. Get people tuned in.
I also wrote, Draymond replacement.
Ooh, my pick might be that. Number 3. Number 3 overall.
Okay.
The Chicago Bulls.
I have them at 5.
I don't think they can get to 5. I don't think that's how that works.
I don't know. I don't know the math of
Yeah,
it.
no, they can't. They can't get
rig it. It's rigged.
Okay, but they literally can't
rig it harder.
No, but they can't. They can't do it, Josh. It can't be done. It literally can't be done. But I have them at number 3. Look, I think that the Chicago Bulls fans are very, very upset. I think the Bulls need a superstar. I think that, despite the fact that it's all their fault that they're in the spot that they're in, they haven't caused too many problems around the league. Like, there's really not a ton of reason for the league to be mad at them. They sell out every single game. They sell a bunch of merchandise. You want to say what you want about Chicago Bulls and them being incompetent from a basketball perspective, but like from a business perspective, they're actually pretty well run. Like they make a ton of money. They haven't ruined their brand or tarnished their brand from an off. Now I guess Jerry Krause's widowed wife being booed at the Ring of Honor ceremony probably wasn't the greatest look, but I digress.
Awkward.
Yeah, awkward is probably an understatement. It was disgusting. But anyway, I think they give Chicago number 3. Number 4, slam dunk. Dallas.
I have them at number 1.
Dallas. Oh, number 1.
Yeah.
They go back to back rigging it for Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Show your work.
I'm just Cooper Flagg is a star. It worked out. Give him a partner.
Here's why I went with 4. Okay. So I got Washington at 5, Brooklyn at 6, Utah 7, Sacramento 8. All right. So at 1, I have Indiana taking Dybanska. Number 2, I have Golden State taking Boozer. I have them being like, okay, we're gonna pair Boozer and Curry.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We're gonna have a Bruiser. So you talk about like the Draymond replacement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll have Boozer's not gonna be
a groin kicker.
Yeah, he's not gonna be that, but
a podcaster.
He's gonna be a bruiser. He's
Okay.
gonna be a physical presence. So I think Golden State Warriors go Boozer 2. Darren Peterson 3 to Chicago. I think you give Chicago a superstar. You give them a guy that everybody immediately becomes so obsessed with, and that can captivate on the floor. Then here's why I put Dallas 4. Because I don't know if Dybanska and Flagg, like they would make it work, right? And Peterson and Flagg would, oh my God, that'd be incredible.
Yeah, I didn't go so far as to like draft.
Here's this though.
Players.
Do you know why you give them 4? So Dallas takes Darius Acuff.
Okay.
And you got Acuff and Flagg, and you got that power forward, small forward with that electric point guard. Oof. And then Keaton Wagler to Washington. And then you add that with Anthony Davis and Trae Young, the explosive offense they can have. This is it, man. I've given it to you. I've given you the playbook. Indiana 1, Golden State 2, Chicago 3, Dallas 4. This is what they have to do. This is how this happens. This is how you produce the best stars and the best spots with the most entertaining rosters as possible. And you know what? Screw you, Washington, for tanking, you disrespectful pieces of crap.
I didn't put Washington in at a number, but I did write, punish this franchise into oblivion. They deserve nothing good ever.
Washington punished. Utah punished. Sacramento punished. Memphis punished. You've been given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity.
The Kings and the Grizzlies should be retracted.
I think the Grizzlies should just move. I honestly don't expand. 10 toes down. Don't expand the NBA. Just get the Grizzlies out of Memphis. Just put them in Seattle.
Put Memphis in Seattle. Move Sacramento to Vegas. Let's call it a day.
Let's call it a day.
Move the Wolves to the Eastern Conference.
It's easy.
Boom.
I disagree with Sacramento. Sacramento's got a fan base. Sacramento's got a lot of history in the league. I have a soft spot for the Sacramento Queens.
They were in Omaha for half a season.
Okay. No. I like Sacramento. I can't stand Memphis. I can't stand them.
Neither can the players.
I don't give a damn. And neither can LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron was so funny. Some people, a reporter asked him, he was like, hey, some people are very upset about what you said. He goes, I don't give a damn. I'm 41.
You said that on the golf course. How could you?
He was like, I'm 41. There are places I don't like to visit anymore.
It sucks.
It's probably the most relatable LeBron James has ever looked in his career.
Yeah.
Him telling a reporter, I didn't say anything mean. I didn't say anything that would offend people. I just told you I'm an old ass man, and there are certain places that I don't want to stay.
I appreciate for the first time in the 25 years that we've known LeBron, he had a real moment in front of the camera with people where he was like, yeah, no, that place sucks. Aren't you Mr. Don't have a take on anything that could offend anyone ever? And that place sucks.
It took a 5'10" former hotel manager to get super popular at golf, to create a YouTube golfing empire, to finally make LeBron James relatable to the public.
It's like, you know what? I like his stance on Taco Tuesday, and I like his stance on Memphis.
There's nothing more that will draw relatability to people as an athlete than when you go onto the golf course and you look unathletic.
Yeah.
When you go on the golf course, if you're a super athlete, but you go on the golf course and you look unathletic, you're like, oh my God, me and him, we're the same. We're the same guy. How? Look at me. When I look in the mirror, I see LeBron James. Him and I both can't hit it in the fairway.
When Tiger Woods was gutting it out through a lot of pain, I would always tell my dad, hey, we look just like Tiger Woods, Dad.
I'm not going to make the jokes.
No SUV ever crashed in our front yard.
I'm okay.
Never been any pills in my dad's pocket.
I was going to say, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm done making. I'm not going to make inappropriate jokes about Tiger Woods.
No president would dare call my dad.
And I'm not. Your dad could drive his grandchildren. All right, I'm done.
My dad can drive his grandchildren and does.
I'm done. You don't have to ban your father from driving your kids. Not doing it.
No.
No more Tiger jokes.
We drove to Run Zone Saturday. It was quite lovely.
No more Tiger jokes. And I'm no longer making any. This is my last time I'm going to say these names. I'm no longer making any Rossini or Vrabel jokes. I'm done. I'm past it.
We're above it.
I've beaten that dead horse more than anything. Or that dead marriage. I can't. I'm sorry.
Which one, Matt?
Can't help it.
Let's say we're done with those jokes, asterisk, until there's some resolution in the matter, and then we can make more jokes.
She's under review.
A lot of people have invisible friends. It's fine.
Typically, they're from the ages of 2 to 8.
Yeah.
They don't typically have a long-standing relationship and kids when they have invisible friends. Generally, but who are we to judge? We cannot. We
wouldn't dream of it.
Wouldn't dream of it at all.
You interlock fingers with whoever you want.
There were multiple pictures put in my group chat of friends interlocking fingers, that's become like a funny group chat joke. We're like, hey, let's, and then you interlock fingers and you send it into the group chat. It was funny. It was a great time. No more jokes. Coming up next. I don't know where I'm going.
Okay.
With with this next, we're going to talk about Mike Malone. And we're going to talk about the transition from the NBA to college. And then from that point on, we're going to make a Nebraska comparison. And then I don't really know where the segment is fully going to go and how people are going to react to it.
Awesome.
But I think there is something to be said about the professional to college connection that Nebraska has going on in their athletic department. And I do think it's interesting to compare and contrast the differences that we've seen. And I don't know if the comparisons and the contractions necessarily make arguments for change to happen, but I think they're interesting to point out. You'll see what I'm talking about coming up next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I'm going to get a tattoo one day. I don't know what it's going to be.
Get some ink done?
Yeah, it's going to be the stupid tattoos that Josh Peterson has. I'm not going to have sunglasses on my triceps.
It's the internet. You're fine.
You know, I'm not going to have some dragon. I'm not going to have a dog on my dog in my forearm. I'm not going to have run on my thighs. Wow, you have 3-letter words on your thighs. You're so cool.
Well, they can't fit much more than that.
Yeah, I know. They're tiny baby thighs. Tiny baby boy thighs.
Get some big fat thighs.
You know?
Like these.
You'd never find Josh Peterson's thighs in a Dyson chicken, Dyson, you know, I don't know what jokes I'm making anymore.
I get supercalifragilisticexpialidocious tattooed on my thighs.
I'm gonna get a cool. We were talking yesterday about like those kind of trashy Boston sleeve tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I want one of those.
Are you gonna do like the Bears logo and the Lombardi and
no? I'm gonna get like skulls and bones.
Okay,
you know, and I'm gonna get a sick tattoo that definitely doesn't represent anything of my personality.
Sure. I mean, you got to get something on there.
And then maybe I get like one of the like collarbone under the collarbone tattoos. You know.
Oh.
Just keep living.
Edgy.
You know?
Okay.
What if I get a bunch of Matthew McConaughey quotes as tattoos, but I like act as if I don't know they're from Matthew McConaughey?
Okay.
Like on my back, I just get all right, all right, all right.
Now that's a good bit.
You know? And then they're like, oh, that's a nice Matthew McConaughey tattoo. And you're like, no, that's my dad used to say that all the time. That was my dad. Who's Matthew McConaughey? Never heard of him. You know? Like you get a tattoo on your shoulder, like sometimes you got to go back to move forward.
Uh-huh.
They're like, oh wow, you're what? You really like that Lincoln commercial? Like what? Abraham Lincoln? What? Never heard of that. No, that's my grandfather. That's what that was one of his wise sayings.
I have a lot of proof the world is conspiring to make me happy.
What?
These are Matthew McConaughey quotes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were quoting something else.
Persist, pivot, or concede. It's up to us. Our choice every time.
Wait, say the first one.
Persist?
No, the one before that.
Oh, let me see if I can find it again. I believe the truth is only offensive when we're lying.
No, not that.
Is that not the one I read?
No, you read something about.
I have a lot of proof that the world is conspiring to make me happy.
Yeah. Never forget about the people that are there when you're doing great.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Those are the real ones.
Those are the real OGs. I have no doubt that there are a lot of people trying to make my life great.
Great leaders are not always in front. They also know who to follow.
What is the one about lying? That's actually not a bad one. The truth is only offensive when it's surrounded by a bunch of lies.
I believe the truth is only offensive when we're lying.
Okay. That is just false. That is just incorrect. That is just that's just a fugazi.
Hey, we're lying here.
And the truth can just hurt in general. If you tell somebody, hey, the truth is I did this terrible thing to you, it's not gonna feel bad because there's a bunch of lies behind it. It's just bad. Things could just be bad.
No longer chasing butterflies. Camilla and I planted a garden so they could come to us.
I just think that he just throws words together against the wall to hope that it will become an inspirational quote.
He is one of those guys that's like, well, everything I say is profound. Each statement more profound than the previous one.
Matthew McConaughey, always working the problem backwards. You know, you always have that type of friend that looks at it at a different way just to look at it at a different way. Matthew McConaughey's that way, but somehow that guy got popular. Somehow that guy's an incredible actor. What was the last great McConaughey movie?
Ooh, this is a good question. Okay, we can figure this out.
When was the last, like, holy crap, Matt? Good Lord. What a performance.
Okay.
Because he had that great stretch from what? 19 to 21?
Where he was like,
the guy.
Damn it, you're going to give me an Oscar.
You're going to give me all the awards. Like he did Dallas Buyers Club, did Interstellar.
All right, let's see if
Didn't he do True Detective? Right?
Oh, yeah. First season of True
Detective with Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm.
I learned about that. What was the movie that competed with Reservoir Dogs in the 90s that had Woody Harrelson and
Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers.
Mhm.
It had Robert Downey Jr. as well, and apparently it flopped at the box office. Or it just didn't do as well as people thought it would. I think
Yeah.
is more accurate.
Woof. Where's the good movies here?
Maybe I'm telling you, maybe he's on a string of bad ones.
I'm gonna say it's Interstellar in
Really?
2014. That was 2014.
No, that wasn't the last good movie he was in. When was Dallas Buyers Club?
Does Sing count? Dallas Buyers Club was 2013.
Oh my God, that was so long ago. He won the Oscar 12 years ago.
Sure seems that way.
Good Lord. His last, no, Wolf of Wall Street. When did Wolf of Wall Street come out?
Wolf of Wall Street was 2013.
Oh my God. Is Matthew McConaughey washed? Poll question.
I believe he's enjoying. I believe he's trying to turn into.
His
a
last
businessman, an entrepreneur.
His last good movie was 12 years ago.
Have his money make money for him. More concerned with that now that he has the Oscar.
Is that a Matthew McConaughey quote? Let your money make money for you,
No,
baby.
That's just
All
something
right.
people with money say. You got to have your money making money for you.
All right. Let's pivot toward profitability, baby. You won't find stock trades this profitable this side of the Rio Grande.
He's a big AI guy.
Is he? He's all into NVIDIA?
He's into the AI companies and all those commercials, him and Woody.
He's in a lot of commercials. Woody, and when was Woody's last good movie?
One of the Hunger Games.
He was great in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Haymitch Abernathy.
That's my guess on Woody Harrelson.
Okay. Good enough. Mike Malone. Talk about a guy whose peak was probably longer ago than we first remembered. Made his first big decision over at the University of North Carolina on Chapel Hill. Had a 5-star coming to his team, Dylan Mingo. Essentially told Mingo, we good. We're going to go ahead and take this Neo Advilas point guard, 6'9", 215 pounds. The scouting report on our friend Neo is that he is an elite playmaker. He's playing for Virginia Tech. Unfortunately, the Hokies got hurt, and so he had to become their primary scorer. So his stats definitely aren't as gaudy as people talk about in terms of him being a prospective star, but he's got the measurables, he's got the wits, he's got the intelligence, and he has been fawned over from coaches and scouts across the country, so much so that the Field of 68 ranked him as their 7th best player in the transfer portal. Malone decides no to Mingo, no to the young high school recruits, and instead decides we are going to go with the older, more experienced, highly touted Neo Advilas. Very much a NBA move, if you ask me. Very much a professional basketball move from Malone, because he's looking at a previous relationship and saying, look, you committed to North Carolina. You didn't necessarily commit to me. We got to go ahead and we got to win right away. I have to make the decisions that are best for this team. And my decision is that, unfortunately for you, Dylan, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Neo and we're going to have him run the point. This is going to be a decision right away in the first couple of days of Mike Malone being the head coach of North Carolina that could have some repercussions. What if Mingo, former 5-star, goes ahead, or current 5-star rather, goes ahead and has a great career elsewhere? We're going to be thinking, wow, what a bad move from Malone. Why did he do that? A couple of things to add here. Mingo previously was being recruited by Baylor and Washington. Washington is a team that is on the hunt for Drew Fielder. It'll be interesting. Drew Fielder, the Boise State power forward who visited Nebraska. Does Washington maybe take some of the money that they were going to give Fielder to get back in the Mingo conversation to get his services as opposed to the transfer from Boise? We got to keep a watch on that. We'll have more of a conversation about this tomorrow, but it is very interesting to me that you look at North Carolina and you go, hey, they got 2 previous professional head coaches, Bill Belichick and Mike Malone. And one of the very few places, if there's another place across the country that you look and say, oh, they have 2 former professional coaches coaching for them, is Nebraska and Fred Hoiberg and Matt Rule. But the contrast between the 2 hirings is insane, right? Because Malone and Belichick, former champions, who maybe to a certain extent were wrongfully fired or wrongfully not given more opportunities from their from their teams. Hoiberg and Rule, the opposite. Fired, but for lack of results, and definitely not championship coaches. Is there something that we can learn through Fred's process that maybe could give us optimism when it comes to Matt Rule?
Oh, when it comes to Matt Rule.
When it comes to Matt Rule, is there's things that we can learn from Fred and what he's had to go through as the Nebraska basketball head coach that we can apply to maybe having more optimism towards Matt Rule?
Consistency, stick-to-itiveness,
having a plan,
eventually comes out the other side.
Adapting, hiring new coaches, having a new recruiting plan, putting your eggs in different baskets. We need to hit a break and the show needs to end, but let's stew on that tonight. We're just going to stew on that.
Everybody think about it. Come back tomorrow.
Here's your homework. Here's everybody's homework.
Put a pin in it. Circle back.
Your homework tonight for Middays with Matt from Mr. McMaster and Mr. Odson. Is there anything we can learn from Fred Hoiberg and his process of winning at Nebraska basketball that we can apply to Matt Rule to give us some more optimism on the upcoming seasons with him at the helm? Let's stew on it. Let's marinate on it. Let's think about it before we go to bed. Be ready for a pop quiz tomorrow.
School's in session.
Here on Middays with Matt. But before that, what to watch and what we're betting tonight here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Josh, go quickly.
Playing games, nobody cares, but they're on our TVs anyway. Heat, Hornets, 6:30, Amazon Prime, 9 versus 10 seed. The loser goes home. Followed by Blazers, Suns at 9. This is a 7-8 matchup. The winner plays San Antonio in the first round of the playoffs, where they will surely get swept. Baseball, Cubs, Phillies, 5:40 on TBS.
Yeah.
College baseball, Blue Jays, Huskers, round 2, 6 o'clock on BTN. That's an inferior broadcast. The superior broadcast is right here on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer and John Bishop on the call. Hockey, Caps, Blue Jackets at 6 on ESPN, followed by Penguins, Blues at 8:30. Netflix new doc, Untold, the story of the Jailblazers from the early 2000s, and a 5-part docuseries on Clint Dempsey premieres tonight on Paramount Plus.
Not everybody needs a podcast.
You don't know where I'm from, dog, is what it's
Crazy.
called.
Crazy.
Matt.
Oh, I'm
Dog
gonna
of the
kill.
day.
I'm gonna kill your bookmaker.
Dog.
I'm gonna rip his
I will
throat
pull
out.
this man
Dog.
out. I will step on his throat until the man
Dog.
chokes. Let me tell you how.
Dog.
Winners.
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 Dog.
Winners.
We pick winners.
I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got
Do we?
dogs, right?
We picked one yesterday.
Oh,
We're gonna stick to the Flyers. I'm taking the Montreal Canadiens to defeat the Flyers, plus 118, minus 1.5 goal spread. All right, puck line, minus 1.5 for the Canadiens. The Flyers already clinched their playoff spot. They're going to play the Pittsburgh Penguins in the playoffs. They're going to rest everybody. They're going to
a Keystone State showdown.
They're on a back-to-back. Give me the Canadiens. Thank you so much for listening to this fun little show today. Had some great time. We'll have a better one tomorrow. Don't forget to stew on our homework. Coming up next, UFC in the Crossover.